there was a very huge influx of dispatchers that came into the market, probably like, COVID 2020, 2021, 22, everybody was a dispatcher.
Correct.
Is that still a viable career?
I love dispatching. It's still my favorite business. 7 dispatchers at one time under the staff, and the most trucks we've done is like 65 at a time. I don't care about revenue. It's monopoly money. So you have people bragging, 6 figures in 6 months when they got a truck. But then if they got a driver, they may be profiting 10%. So I'm like, see, you sound like you making some money to the person that's uneducated, but now can you quit your job if you got $10,000 in 6 months? You need to know how real business brings in customers. So I tell people your marketing sucks if you cannot tell one person a day no. Like with these other businesses, I've been able to build systems, software, get good people, and it's scalable. Right? If I bring any client, I don't care what equipment type they have, if they're not gonna make at least $300 to the business, they're not qualified. Stop chasing the highest paying load and chase weekly predictability. So when people are just chasing money versus being good at what they do, this is a problem. I don't think you should have an MC if you're too scared. I'm gonna say that again, scared to hire somebody. You need to believe it's possible, so you have the ability to put in the work.
Time is money, so don't waste time when it comes to weighing your load. Download the Catscale Weigh My Truck app today. It's simple. It lets you weigh, pay, and get back to your business fast. Just pull onto the scale, open up the app, weigh your truck, and you're done. Look out for the black and gold Catscale sign and get a weight that you can trust. It's backed by the Catscale guarantee. Weigh what we say or we pay. Download the Weigh My Truck app today, available in the App Store or at weightmytruck.com. Now let's get back to the show.
It's your boy Brandon Johnson with JB Solutions. You are now watching Truckin' Hustle.
Hustle fam, we are back with another amazing episode, and today I have a very special guest. I might remember him from episode,
I think it was 41.
41. Yeah. Man, the good old days.
Man, when everything was easy.
When everything was easy. I think you were BJ Hustle back then? Was that your handle?
Yeah, my personal handle, yeah.
BJ Hustle, man. Are you still BJ Hustle?
Yeah, I still got the personal Instagram.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I got started because like friends and family were challenging me like, hey, talk about trucks because you don't ever do none of that. And I said, okay, that'll be my 2020 New Year's resolution. So then that's when I started then, and then that's when I ended up going to the podcast. But I had never, since 2017, talked about anything trucks, and it just so happened that year.
Yeah. And I guess when I saw that you was Hustle and we were Hustle, it made sense, man.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense. Well, welcome back to the show, man. How's everything, bro?
Oh, man, it's good. I mean, it's a blessing to make it this long, especially in a very volatile industry. So to being able to adapt, adjust, do the things that you need to do, save money, fire people, hire people, all that kind of good stuff and still make it. So I'm glad to be standing in 10 years in, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 78 instead of 42. You know what I mean?
Nah, no doubt, man. 10 years in, and I definitely appreciate the support over the years. I know you've been to many of our events, the resets and all that, and you brought your team out and all that. So I appreciate the support over the years, man. It's good to see you here. Like you said, still standing.
That's it. You know what I mean?
So let's bring the folks up to speed, man. What businesses are you working on now? What do you got going on? We'll just kind of talk high level, and then we'll kind of dig a little bit deeper in everything.
Okay, got you. So I'm still in the trucking side for when it comes to the Hotshots. I got that on pause right now. We'll get into that later. And then I still got the dispatching going. That was kind of like originally, I think, what put me on the map when we talked the first time, because people was like, what? How you got a trucking business and you got a dispatch company, you didn't take a course. So we still do that. I still keep telling everybody I got other businesses. Dispatching is still my favorite business out of everything else, just because of, I think it's so important piece. So we still got the dispatching going. Recently, about a year ago, we started an insurance brokerage. So now we're offering that for the carriers, so they can come to us and we can get them the right insurance, right? Versus them trying to think they're smarter than the program. They think, oh, I'm local, but they really OTR. Okay, play if you want to.
Okay,
right?
We'll dig into that.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that. And then also we're doing like truck sales and the whole nine. So the goal is to, with the JB Solutions, to be an end-to-end solution from the beginning to the very end to make sure that they can now be profitable.
Okay, so it looks like you've moved from just dispatching to becoming more vertically integrated, and now you have these different offerings within the entire suite of services, so to speak, correct?
Yes, sir, 100%.
Okay, let's talk about how that evolved, man. So just kind of like, let's start at the beginning, man. You started off as a hotshot driver, right? You was driving hotshot trucks? What happened?
Yeah, no, I wasn't driving. I started from when I left my job. I was kind of trying to do what everybody was doing in 2020, which is get a truck and trailer and put a driver in it. You gonna make all this money, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my cutting my teeth in 2016, because the goal was with my pops was to me just to, maybe keep my job to a certain point. I was going to invest in trucking, and then that was going to kind of be my outlet, is that eventually I would leave my job. But it didn't work out like that because of, philosophies and people not really understanding the industries. So I, got 3 or 4 trucks, put them all together, and then they weren't making any money. So I was, in a sense, forced to quit my job, or the businesses would fail, because I didn't want to blame anybody. So that's how I kind of got my teeth cut. But even from that day to this day, I have still never picked and dropped a load. I think now I went to like 2 or 3 pickups from different customers that had some crazy specifications, like only load it this weird way, shrink wrap it, do some weird stuff. So I would go with the driver to make sure they did it right, because it's something that we wouldn't do normally.
Right.
Put 2 or 3 tarps on it, stuff like that. I would go, and then when they get ready to go drop it off, okay, drop me off at the house, and they drop me off the house, and then I'll let them go drop it. So I still haven't picked and dropped the load.
So I thought you started in the truck for a short period of time. So you never drove.
Never.
Okay. Well, man, God bless you, man. That's what's up. But you are known for dispatching the hot shot specifically. That's your niche. And that was what I think really attracted people to your story, because hot shot was a very popular niche at then. People were starting to get into it, and you were the guy who's just dispatching strictly hot shots.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that still the case?
No, now we opened it up. It's funny because after I came and people start reaching out, everybody, all the big people was like, oh, now we got some place to take these hot shots we don't want, right? And I say, now y'all doing too much, because just because it's called a hot shot does not mean we want to dispatch it. Because you can't be bringing us no 12-foot trailer, no landscaping trailer. Like, they were sending all kind of stuff. I said, hey, man, we don't do that. We still have certain specifications. We have a business model. So that was kind of overwhelming. But I ended up starting, because when we started doing the courses, several people came to me and stuff.
The course after the course.
Exactly. So when I came the first time, people reached out. We started training people in person, right? Because before I could become an entrepreneur, the whole point was that I was in retail management, so I was used to training people versus just telling somebody something, right? So most people, because they don't want to seem ignorant, would just say yes to something, and good and well they don't know what they're talking about, right? So immediately before we started doing anything, I said we need to train people, because I believe, especially with dispatching, you can train a person like a regular job and they can do it. So through the process of training people, I've been doing it probably like 6 months went by. One of the girls said, hey, Brandon, you're showing us all this stuff. You're showing us the different equipment types on the load board. You're giving us philosophies, but you only got hot shots to us to dispatch for. Why can't we get an opportunity to dispatch the other things? And I never thought about it. I said, man, that's profound. And I remember she asked me this around like December of 2020. So then going into 2021, we got rid of all the hot shots. We probably had about 17 to 20 at that time. We got rid of all of them to all the students that had come to us. And I said, we gave them all. We had one client that had 3 trucks. I said, now we're going to start over. So in January 2020, we started over with nothing. And I was like begging people like, hey, let me book your truck for free, because I just want to make sure we can do it well before I start, opening up this service, right?
Yeah.
Because read all the load boards, reading all the lanes, you looking at it. And my philosophy was like, man, if you can do the harder equipment, you can definitely do a big truck. Because like with dispatching a hot shot, it may be 15 to 20 variables you're considering, plus the speed of the load being available. Then you move up to a big truck, pretty much anywhere in the United States, they got 400, 800 loads. So that got to be simple. So I was always like, that's easy, right? So then I wanted to test it. And so then that boy Blue Collar, obviously that I met through you after the podcast, he reached out. And I was like, man, let me get some of the trucks to let me dispatch. He was like, I said, I'll do it for free. He said, I can't do you like that. I'll do you like some low percent. I said, man, I'll do it for free. I just want to show it to you. So he ended up letting us do it, I think, for like a few weeks or so. Okay. I remember that first week he was mad because he's like, man, your team ended up dispatching higher than my team had been doing. And I said, because we had learned to slowly pay attention. So with a hot shot, you might have to stay ahead of them 1 or 2 days. So then with a big truck, they'll log in and book some within 2 hours. So we were used to watching what brokers doing what, how they moving, if they book a load the day of versus waiting. So we've been watching that before we actually started doing it. So soon we hit that and we started killing it. Now we added all equipment types. We used to do power only. We don't do that no more because I think most of those people in that space cannot afford dispatching if they don't got a trailer. So we got away from the power only.
Margins are too slim?
Yeah, it's too slim. Because usually they're going to look at about 25 to maybe 40 cents less than a drive-in. So then as soon as you tell them, hey, we got to do a load out trailer, oh, I don't want to be over the road. Then they got these different stipulations. So we did it for maybe like a year. Then it felt like we just really cannot support this clientele properly. So we moved back away from the PO. So now we just stick to the big three, the flatbed, dry van, reefer. And now we do box trucks and hot shots. So that's our business model for
So
that.
flatbed, dry van, reefer,
Yeah.
and then box trucks and hot shots. So you went back to doing the hot shots.
Yeah, we always keep our feet in the hot shots,
Well,
and I still love it.
you said that. We're just going through the story. You said that at one point you got rid of all your hot shots.
We got rid of them.
And what was the reason for that?
I wanted to kind of give my students something because I said I want to be able to open it up because that time I had 2 dispatchers and they were already full. So I was like, well, how are we going to bring on some new? Then I got to go get brand new people to dispatch a new equipment type. So I was like, I'd rather use my people I know that are already trained properly, and then we would do it with them. So that's why I got rid of them all to say these people are already tenured in dispatching. So then we only brought in big trucks, and then from bringing that in, then when people get trained, we start bringing the other dispatchers. They already had to start off with understanding 5.
How does that conversation go with the customers?
You mean like from the
hot
client?
shots that you're dispatching, yeah, the clients.
Like when I gave them away?
Yeah, when you were like, I'm not dispatching you anymore.
Okay, well, to me, it was simple, right? Because I've never been ashamed of telling somebody no.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are a slave to, oh, they started with me, I got to be faithful. I mean, maybe I'm not locked in like that, but I'm like, because transactions are transactions, right? Because what if they go out of business? They ain't faithful to still pay me that 10% if they not in business no more. So, we end up having a conversation, say, hey, man, we'll give you 2 weeks. We have some people that we train, that they're qualified. We're not just going to throw you to the wilderness. And then these other people, when we got on the phone with the dispatchers, say, hey, I need y'all to do it at a discounted rate. If you can come in cheaper than what we are, but then the client can go to maybe getting similar service, because we have the same, we taught you the same way, and then they still get more value. So we end up doing that to with all the dispatchers. They end up charging 2% less than what we were charging, and so that's how they all transitioned over.
Okay. So you found them a home.
Correct. Yeah, I ain't gonna do them like that.
You ain't just leave them out there in the wilderness.
Yeah. Just one day. Hey, I don't know what you gonna do.
Make it in the freight.
Yeah, but we ain't dispatching. I ain't gonna do them like that. Like that's disrespectful to them. You know what I mean? We gonna do that.
Okay. All right. So you started to build the dispatch business, and at your peak, how many people did you have that were dispatching under you? Because you built like an actual business model, right? Where
Yeah,
you
100%.
trained the dispatchers and then they dispatch the trucks. What'd that look like?
Yeah, I see. Most dispatch we had at one time, I want to say it's 7 dispatchers at one time under the staff, and the most trucks we've done is like 65 at a time.
Okay. Okay, so 7 dispatchers, 65 trucks, just mix fleets.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right, keep on telling me the story. What happens after that? Like after you kind of do the dispatching thing, you start building. We talked about being vertically integrated. What's next?
Yeah, then we started messing with a couple of different softwares. Like then we made in the end of 2021 because the same way I tried to figure out in the beginning, because the resources on Truck Stop and that don't really help you dispatch like hot shots and box trucks. It's kind of like either you know it or you don't. But there was no, I would say, resource that was available, right? So for me, being able to train people instead of me doing it myself or somebody's been around for 2 or 3 years, somebody should be able to come to me like a regular business and be with me from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, and they should still be able to understand how to navigate properly. So then we created what is called freight traffics, right? So freight traffics, we basically scrub the top 2 load boards. We're just gonna let people guess what that is. Mm-hmm. The top 2 load boards in the industry, and we compile a median, but it's exclusively for hot shots and box trucks, because a box truck is not a flatbed, and vice versa. So if you're looking at flatbeds in the southeast region, it's always hot and stuff like that. That's not the same for a hot shot. So people go into that low board or whatever it is, and they look around for different indicating components and think that's gonna work for a hot shot. It's not, because you're not gonna be able to price it right. You're not gonna know how to negotiate right. So with the technology we created that way, okay, if I pull up Texas, and Texas is national average is $1.65. Okay, for somebody brand new, you need to start at $1.65 with negotiation with the brokers and go up from there. So now if we're trying to say say use the normal $2 a mile, now we need to go from Texas to what other states are going to be at $1.90, $1.95 too. So now you can sit back and take that person from the state that they may live in that might not be able to produce what they want and reposition them. Because, it's been an independent freight dispatcher, from a scalable standpoint, trying to get everybody 3 or 4 partials is not a sustainable business model for an independent dispatcher. That is ideal for somebody who's in-house. So if a trucking business wants to put 2 or 3 partials together and do all that, that's great. You need our in-house, because it's not like if my goal for my independent dispatchers dispatch, say 8 trucks on a roster, because 5 will run every week. Well, then that 8 end up being 3 clients because now they want 3 loads all the time. So I understand how it makes sense to the trucking business. It does not make sense to our business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you start developing software, and then what happens after that?
Yeah, then we got that launched, and so then that was huge. I mean, we do a lot of people are subscribed to that, so that
How many
helped us
people?
with training. I want to say we have about like 150 people subscribed right
Okay.
around to the freight traffics map.
Okay.
And so like so people that go through us, or they come to us for education, we give them a discounted rate for it, stuff like that. But generally, it's only $40 a month for them to know what their game plan will be weekly, because we update it every week. So then we got into that in the 2021, and then we're just keeping the business going. And then I think like around 2023, like I said, me and my dad started the Hotshot business. So then we kind of split up, went our separate ways. So I kept it going to about 2024. And I was like, I never really liked the trucking business from like the asset side. And so I was like, man, I'm tired of going through brokers. I'm tired of messing with the random customers. I'm just really over it. And then I had an opportunity that a friend of mine reached out to me. And so we're working on that to get in the oil field. And so now I got all that truck stuff on pause for me having assets unless I can get in this oil field. So if I don't get away to crack into this oil field, and now my just loads are running through Halliburton and Exxon. If it's not doing that, I'm just going to be over the assets, because like with these other businesses, I've been able to build systems, software, get good people, and it's scalable, right? Like it's very systematic. People don't bother me. It might take me 8 hours a week to manage, check in with people. It's cool. But trucks, every 100,000 miles, maintenance. Driver's going to make it 6 months again. Transmit, like I just cannot get, it's just the same. It's like playing Groundhog's Day, right? And I'm just like, I hate this for me. It's the Truman Show, right? I'm like, here we go again. It's like, look at my clock. Oh, it's September. This finna happen, right?
Right.
So that just became very daunting with other businesses. It's like new issues, but I'm not repeating the same thing. So that's why if I go back into the assets, I need to get into another place that's going to pay like double, if you will, to make me want to go through the groundhog again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we got to that point, then I think, and then I had a business partner. She actually was my mentee. She came to me through the educational piece, worked it out, LinkedIn, and said, okay. And then she started talking about the truck sales. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. You do what with truck sales? Okay. I mean, I seen it. I didn't know how you could be a truck broker. Started talking to that, started working a little bit. And so then we decided in 2025 to open up our insurance brokerage.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So you doing truck sales actively?
Yeah, so we have other people in place. So
To kind of facilitate truck sales? Okay,
Correct.
So like a network kind of, like to where you like an affiliate network, or
yeah,
how does it work?
It's kind of like we're the truck broker, right?
Okay.
So we go to the dealership, say, hey, we can sell these trucks for you for blah, blah, blah. They say, okay, let's run the play, and they give you no help, right? So they like, hey, because they may have their own sales team, whatever, and they say, okay,
Right.
you get what you kill. If you don't kill nothing, you don't get nothing, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of that place. So then she's the one that kind of brought it to me. So, okay, let's work this out, because I have a lot of connections. So now we have to get them all approved for like the funding aspect of thing, the lending, the bank, whatever. We get them set up on there, and then we bring a qualified buyer to the dealer, and then we end up getting a commission off that.
Okay. Yeah. And then on the insurance side, you said that's something else that you worked on kind of in tandem with the truck sales?
Yeah, so now once they get a truck, then also now we can give them the proper insurance, right? Because that's where I feel like that my biggest issue all the time when, from a trucking side is, how did they come up with these rates, right? I'm thinking this year, oh man, we good. I hit my 3-year mark, insurance will go down, and it don't. I'm like, okay, then I had some trucks totaled. I've had, commodities lost. And then you're like biting your teeth to be like, what they gonna quote me next year? Or I got a couple things on, the safer. Is it going to be $10,000? That anxiousness was always annoying. So it's like every time you talk to somebody, they're always trying to tell you what you can do to kind of navigate it in a way that is kind of trying to get around from these parameters instead of doing it the right way, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, okay, I did that before, because I did that like trying to do some okie dokie stuff. Like my first truck got in a wreck, and I had to fix it out of pocket because I didn't have the proper insurance. So I already knew that was not the play, is to not do something else besides being properly set up, right? So now we try to give that same education to our clients that come say, hey, man, don't do this. Make sure you run the hours of service. Make sure you're doing this. So now we're taking all the experience that I've had from the other, decade of doing trucking and say, hey, with the clients, do this, do that, don't do this. If this mess up, go in there and talk to them. So that way by the time they get the insurance, now they're ready to now hit the road, and now we have the dispatching.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we kind of went through kind of everything that you're working on. Now we'll kind of go back a little bit and kind of go deeper into some things.
Okay.
So with the dispatching, there was a very huge influx of dispatchers that came into the market, probably like, COVID 2020, 2021, 22. Everybody was a dispatcher.
Correct.
Right. Is that still a viable career path?
I love dispatching, right? So out of all the stuff for the 10 years, it's still my favorite business, right? So like when we did the podcast the first time, one of the things we talked about is what made a difference when I went from a job to the business, and I read 18 business books, right? So the biggest thing to me from the very early on is that I don't care about revenue. It's monopoly money, right? So you have people bragging, 6 figures in 6 months when they got a truck. But then if they got a driver, they may be profiting 10%. So I'm like, see, you sound like you making some money to the person that's uneducated, but now can you quit your job if you got $10,000 in 6 months? No, right? Now that same $100,000, if you did that in a year being a freight dispatcher, you might cop 80% of that. So now this is the part when the average person probably make $50,000 a year across the states, where you can literally quit your job, do this well. This ain't no from your cell phone, part-time, so-and-so, extra money. I shut down all that.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense to leave a job that's, you have benefits, insurance, 401k, to now you plan in a business that has unlimited potential, and you want to leave the full-time that you secure in. That's why you work there, to pay all your bills, and now you're playing in a business. That doesn't make sense to me. It makes more sense for you to play at a job that can replace you,
right,
but take this business seriously.
Which is what was kind of sold to people, right?
100%. And I've been arguing that since day one. I said, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the part that made people think it was so easy. But for me, starting out as a carrier, on my side, the motivating factor for me even starting B Logistics was I want to be what I wish that I had. So when I was making these bad mistakes, I didn't know where to position my trucks breaking down, and I'm using AAA instead of figuring out where a mobile mechanic is, and I'll spend all this extra money. Now I became that for our clients. So I knew it wasn't a game. You got somebody who essentially may not understand business at all, in a sense from the business acumen or profit margins or break-even numbers. And now this person comes and trusts you with their $100,000 that they're indebted, and you're doing it as a play. You don't really care. Like you're not empathetic. You just like, man, you gonna pick up that load or not? And they say, hey man, my transmission went out yesterday. You can't even ask how much it costs because you don't care. You worried about get your 5% on top, and you go by, watching eating Cheerios or something, watching your kids. So I'm like, see, that just always rubbed me the wrong way because I start from that side and understand this person has bet it all in debt, borrowed money from people, you away from your family, and now to go get this dispatcher doesn't care about none of that. That immediately always made me frustrated.
Yeah. So you had a dispatcher for your trucks at one point, right?
Correct. And
and it wasn't you at first.
Correct, yes. And so they had years of experience beforehand. So I thought, oh man, well, obviously I'm just gonna let them do it because they know more than me. So I let the tenure, speak over what is your strategy. And so that's where we went wrong, because I tell people all the time, even this day I argue, sometimes we'll go back. Let me not use the word argue. Let's say,
have a spirited conversation?
Exactly, right? We're gonna use that, right? Because I'm trying to bring light to something, right? Yeah. And they be like, well, my uncle told me. And I be want to say, I don't care what they told you. Have you done your research, right? So what got me into trouble in the very early on was picking up loads from Houston, that was our hub, going somewhere, wherever it was, dropping a freight and getting 2 cars on Central Dispatch and coming back. That right there put me in a hole. And we started doing that in August when we started the business. I quit my job in May because I was ignorant of like, why am I making any money? I don't understand this. Like, everybody getting paid but me, right? Because I'm hitting payroll and I'm like, I got $20. I'm like, that truck made $4,200 and I got 20. This math is not math. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. So it's just the fact that, you're going out for $1.80, you're coming back with 2 cars for 90 cents and you're paying for 2 insurance policies. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I understand the car hauling, if you can take 5, 7 cars, yeah, I understand that. But when most people got a 30 to 40 foot truck, you can get 2. In Central Dispatch, last time I looked at it, maybe a few months ago, they still trying to pay you 50 cents a car. So from 10 years later, they not giving you, it doesn't make any, you might as well come back with a partial if you're going to do that. Right. But you're only paying 1 insurance premium. So like that type of philosophy got us in trouble. And so the whole point was when I heard people saying, well, if you get loaded and you go to a place that has no freight, well, the cars help you get back. So my response is, why are you taking your big head to a place that has no freight? So that's your problem. Don't go over there. So if you go to a place where they're looking for your truck, then you should be able to keep it moving throughout the states.
Right.
Stop chasing the highest paying load and chase weekly predictability. That's what makes more sense. So that's where we got,
I like that, and I want to go back into that a little deeper, right? Because we talked about, you said the word strategy, which is very important, right?
Yeah.
But let's park that for a second, and then let's go to a quick question. So, what are the barriers to entry to become a dispatcher in 2026? What are the true barriers? Not the get a laptop and that's it. That's all you need. What are the real barriers to entry?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so number one, it's going to be education, right? Because I think what got people in trouble was it's supposed to be so easy. Then on top of that, everybody and mama was getting the truck in 2020, 21, all that, everybody was buying the truck. So then it was easy to just post a flyer in a Facebook group and somebody reach out to you.
The blind leading the blind.
Exactly, right? So because of that, it was hot, everybody was doing it, and so your ignorance wasn't being exposed. So now when everybody went through that, now people know what's going on, education needs to be first, right? Number two to that, you need to understand how to market. And so this is the problem that people missed, and this is why so many people started businesses and they went out of business very quickly, because posting on your personal Instagram, personal TikTok, posting this on Facebook groups is not marketing. That's being done. Everybody, mama did it. No one cares about your flyer. You need to know how real business brings in customers. So I tell people your marketing sucks if you cannot tell one person a day no. Not even yes. No. So that means that many people should be reaching out to you daily. You're telling people no who don't fit your business model. Okay, so the education's first. Number two is marketing. And then your ability to do the trade can be third. Because if you're a master at the first two, ideally it would be sales and marketing. If you're a master at those two, then you can hire people to do what's better. Then they have more experience than you. They better than you at dispatching, then you can hire. But when all of the courses are based upon you feeling comfortable doing the third component, this is why you take the course, you think it's good, you drive down the street. That's a box truck. That's a flatbed, and you still have not booked one load. That is irrelevant. So besides the education, now the next barrier, I would say now with the things changing with security and all that, is now you need to get access to the load boards. So now before we could just, wing it, we could just sign up ourselves and it was fine. Now you got to go through a carrier. They got to add you a seat. So now there is more work, which essentially is still fine. But if you still couldn't do it before when you had access to the load boards, it's going to make selling your business even more difficult. So to me, the harder it is, the more I like it, right? Because it's going to wean out people that are not committed. Because when I look at hiring people, and what makes it slow for me to hire people is if you're not empathetic, I can't work with you. I can teach you how to do the day-to-day operations. I can't make you care though, right? So when people are just chasing money versus being good at what they do, this is a problem, right? So if you look at any industry in the world, if somebody says these are the top 10 people in it, they got money. So people are focusing on the wrong thing. You're chasing a dollar, but you don't worry about being good. So that's where I think the disconnect is. So if you don't care, first of all, throw it in the trash, don't do it, don't buy it, because it's not going to convert to sincerity when you're talking to a carrier.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Sales and marketing. How do you sell your business and how do you acquire customers?
Okay, very good. So number one, to me, sales is I need to know what you need without you asking me, right? So whenever somebody starts their business, number one, you need money. So me talking about anything else, my name, the name of my business, you don't care about none of that, right? Because at the end of the day, the marketplace does not care who Brandon is, JB Solutions, they don't care. They think, I got this trucking business. If I don't make $5,000 on gross, I got to go back to work or I'm be homeless.
Facts.
So immediately, if you got a Hotshot, and I'm looking at this over the process of 10 years, if you go OTR, you're going to make $46,000 a week on gross. Now, what your profit margin is, we got to go back and cook some numbers up to figure out exactly what that's going to be. But that's what we're going to do. So my sales is knowing the equipment, understanding what that equipment needs to do, whether that be local, regional, OTR, understanding what miles that equates to being every week. Go look at the national average of what that equipment does, and now you have a possibility of revenue. So when you put all that together, hey, you got a flatbed, boom, $3 a mile national average. Boom, 2,500 miles going on the hours of service. $7,500. Okay, you're gonna make $6,000 to $8,000 every week. I need to make 12. Don't come out here. If I ain't making 12,000, it ain't gonna work. Don't come out here, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and shut that down real quick. Save you $100,000 years off your life. Don't do it. And so if that national average go down to $2, 2,500 miles, $2, and that's what it is. So if you cannot survive how the market fluctuates back and forth, especially now with all the restrictions, with dispatchers can't go to shippers, no, and all that kind. If you can't make it that way, you need to just not do it.
So you educate them up front, and then you set an expectation.
100%. Because then now, can we do better than that? Yes, but I'd rather under promise and over deliver, right?
Okay.
So that's number one, right? Then on top of that, the marketing piece, right? Using a lot of that, but on the same note, I've never been doing flyers. I always thought that was dumb. That's just my way of thinking. I'm like, because again, no one cares, right? So this is the thing. So many books that I read, they look at and they talk about no one cares what you do, they care why you do it, right? So to me, you posting a flyer or something and say, hey, I want to be your dispatcher. If I go look at your social media, you're not educating nobody, you're scared to talk on camera, so I build no trust with you. Then on top of that, I don't see proof that you're dispatching. I don't see any proof. So I take those same three concepts. I'm gonna educate, I'm gonna turn the camera on, and I'm showing you trucks that we have booked. So this is not me thinking, guessing, hoping, or wishing upon a star. We're showing you proof of loads, they strapped. So I use branded marketing, right? So get a little picture, put our logo on there, put it out there, and I'm big into running ads. Because yes, besides you being a Chinese food restaurant, you need to market. Okay, so I don't know how they have mastered not marketing and being successful.
Right.
So if you got another business, you need to do that. So that goes into the business model. If I'm charging 10% for the acquisition, or I'm charging 10% to my clientele, and I pay the dispatcher $5, and I got $5 for me, I may have $3 for me because the other $2 need to go back into the business because they put that 2% to work. So if that's ads, that's branding, you want to have TikTok, Facebook, if that's virtual assistants, you have sending emails, text messages, cold calling. This needs to go back into the business being running so that way leads are coming in every day. So we have at least probably about 100 people that reach out to us every single week.
So you can say no to one person a day.
Every day. I love saying no. And the people, I got an MC, I don't care, right? So if you got an MC and you a Hotshot, do you have this type of equipment? Do you have this availability? You know how to use chains? So if you don't meet one of the things, well, no, you don't fit our business model.
You're interviewing your customers.
100%. Because I need to have a predictability of how much we're going to make, right? So people back in the day tell them they can make $3,000 to $5,000, $8,000 by themselves. Who and where are people doing that? So like, for instance, we charge a Hotshot 10%, and they go put up $6,000. Yes, that's $600 coming into the business. I understand that, right? But on the low end, I have to be able to anticipate if I bring any client, I don't care what equipment type they have, if they're not going to make at least $300 to the business, they're not qualified. So my favorite uncle go get a box truck and say, Brandon, I'm in Dallas and I want to be local. Can you dispatch me? The answer is no. Because if I can't see we're going to make $300 on that, no. Because it doesn't fit the business.
I think that's a mindset shift right there because most people are just grateful to have somebody allow them to dispatch their truck, right?
Yes.
I got a customer. Somebody is going to allow me to do it.
Correct.
Right? Is that usually the way people kind of think about it?
It is. And so when we teach people, one of the things that we go over is that from 0 to 300 loads, you're trash. You suck at this. You the worst dispatcher on earth. Okay. So from 0 loads to 300. Okay. So if anybody.
Why is it 300?
Man, let me tell you. Okay. So
I need to know what.
We built TNH IQ just for you. TNH IQ Smart Plan is your profit planner that fits right in your pocket. You build the real cost profile one time. Truck payment, fuel, insurance, tires, everything. And now every load gets judged in only 3 seconds. Evaluate that. Go to TNH IQ and sign up now for free at tnhiq.com/login. Let's go.
yeah.
300. Why not
Okay.
400?
Yes, okay. So there's been a progression over these years of me not only training people, but in-house, right? Okay. So the fastest I've seen this done is in 9 months. Somebody booking. So that's booked, they picked, they dropped, you invoiced them, and you got paid. 1. Now, you might have booked 4, and they didn't work out. I understand that. But that does not count. So from 0 to 100, you don't know what you're doing. Every time you book a load, you're scared. Can I ask for this amount of money? Is the carrier going to take it? You don't know what the commodities are called. None of that. Because it's all like wild, wild west on the low board, right? You never know what you're going to get, okay?
Right.
So then they all over the place. Then between 100 to 200, they start identifying certain commodities. They start saying, you know what, I like going to Illinois because I use a broker there. I'm just going to pick up the phone and call Will, say, Will, we're going to be in Illinois like in 2 days. You got something for me? You start feeling yourself a little bit because maybe you can call 2 people. Or maybe you get, emails from maybe like 5 or 6 brokers say, hey, let me know where your trucks are. You start kind of think you're doing something, right? Then from 200 to 300, you pretty much have seen everything, right? So now you're starting to feel yourself. I said, close your eyes. How you going to take a box truck that's in California, Northern California? It tell me exactly where you're going to go. What are the rates coming out of California? If you come out of California, what state you going to go to get them to whatever state and bring them home? How much money can you make them in a month? They can say that. So now you're feeling yourself. Now you hit them 300 loads, do what I did. Get rid of everybody, right? If you need to, that don't fit your business model. And now you need to now go after the clients you want. So I look at it like dating, right? Everybody would think that they deserve something. I think I deserve this. I think my worth is that. Prove it, okay? So I say, what is your equipment type you just wish you could dispatch for? A 48-foot flatbed, they go OTR, and they team drivers. And I said, oh, hey, that's that bread. They said, yeah, I was saying, go get it. So you can't get it? What happened, right? So then I like to do that. So that 100 from the 0 to 300, that is going to equip you. So then after that point, now you ready to go get whatever you want because you can have a conversation, you confident, you feeling yourself, and now you need to go. So if that was the first hurdle, now to this point, now the dispatching is very basic. I taught my 12-year-old son how to dispatch. This is not rocket science, just get on low board and doing it. But now that sales and marketing, now you got to start spending that same time working on that. When you speak, do you already know the problems of the carrier? If I walked outside right now, I saw somebody that we dispatched for, and I say, hey, what you make last week? And they tell me, were you available all days? Yeah. Do you go anywhere? Yeah. Your dispatcher trash, cuz. They're like, what? And I can reverse engineer, show me rate cons, what state they take you to. So that confidence is what people need, but they get that around 300. So that's the key. So anybody listening, if you done book 16 loads, trash. You suck. I know nobody wants you. You don't deserve it anyway, right? So if you got to do it for 2%, 3%, I don't care what you're doing. It's just the fact of most businesses, they don't make money to 18 months to 2 years anyway. So if you've been dispatching for 3 months, you ain't made no money. Good. I love that for you, right? Keep going. When you get that 300, then holler at your boy. Yeah. Because now you're going to feel different.
Okay. Yeah. And then after that 300, what happens?
Then after that, I want you to charge what you think, whatever the marketplace is, right? So in any type of marketplace, you have what's reasonable, then you have, maybe high end, if you will, right? So when I first started dispatching Hotshots, we used to charge 15%. I love 15%, right? So now because things have changed, 15%. Overseas, a lot of things changed, right? So now we at 10. And so even for me, 10, it gets on my nerves. Right. Because with our clientele, not only are we going to book you loads, that's fine. That's what everybody does. But now do you need help with some stuff? You want to bring on operators? Do you need contracts? You need lease agreements? Like what else where are we going after this? Like where are we going, right? Because for me, and this is going to be unpopular opinion right here. So I know people will be in the comments hating when I say this, right?
Okay, let's talk about it.
I don't think you should have an MC if you're too scared. I'm going to say that again. Scared to hire somebody. I don't care how you paint it, what you say, what your defense mechanism is. Well, people won't get in your truck and tear your truck. That's why you got insurance. Well, you can't put everybody in your truck. That's why you need to learn how to hire people. That's why you need to do vetting. That's when you go to their past employers, right? Because at the end of the day, you're saying you want to be a business owner or an employer. Why you don't want to employ nobody? So if you don't want to do that, I understand. Then just go lease on to somebody who will let you do what you want because the money probably going to be better if you go lease on to somebody than you doing it, especially unless you're going to handle all your logistics. So let's use a Hotshot, for instance, right? Because that's what people know us is doing, okay? Yeah. So if you come to me and we charge 10% for Hotshots, so you start out with 100% of your money. You give us 10%, now 90. You'll get a factoring company 3%. So you're only getting 87 anyway, okay? Right. So you still don't get all of it because you need these other things. So now this 87%, you might go to somebody else and they might do an 85-15 split with you, right? Now, depending on what type of equipment, your driving record, all that, your insurance could be $2,500 a month for one truck, but in your own business. Go lease on to somebody, got a good MC, they maybe have some direct customers, now your insurance $1,000, and they give you $85. So immediately you're already making more money. Now, most people that's gonna lease you on, they're not gonna leave you to the wilderness. If you break down, somebody gonna come get you. If you got a problem with your trailer, they may have an extra one. So you're gonna get the support you need if you go lease on versus it just can't nobody tell me I'm gonna do it myself. Right. And I understand that. But if you don't have systems, you don't have people, you don't have relationships, when you break down 1,200 miles from your house, what you fixing to do? So when you don't have answers for this, don't do it. Right? Just save yourself a lot of time and just don't. It's better to lease on. Right? So for me, when I'm saying that is because same thing happens. You got 2 or 3 people under your authority. I understand. You break down, that MC is still generating money though. Because other people are still bringing money. So while your truck is down, you had to catch a flight, you may be in the hospital, somebody's sick, whatever the case it is, money is still coming into your business. That's the purpose of you wanting to have the extra stress, compliance, headache, like worrying about like all that extra stuff. You need to get paid without you driving. So if you don't, just lease on. So I know they're gonna be mad at that.
It's all good.
And I'm here for it.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
It is what it is.
I'll jump in your comments and then defend.
So do you apply that same theory to you should not be scared to hire a dispatcher?
Absolutely. 100%, right? Because for me, after Stephen leading the show, I read all these business books. I'm like, how do I put this together that makes it true to me in every business that I have other businesses? So what I began to do is had a philosophy that we built in the education, which is called the 3 S's, right? So start, sustain, scale. So based on that philosophy, you should not start a business unless you fully understand what it's going to take to sustain it for years. What are the day-to-day operations? How much is it going to cost? Are you willing to work 12 hours a day? Not be off no time, because most of the time, dispatchers, you can work 50 weeks out of the year. You can't just be off all the time on spring break because that's your kids out of school. These carriers need loads, right? So your time gonna be off is usually December 23rd to January 2nd. That's when you can be off, because you got 2 holidays back to back. A lot of people ain't running. Sometimes there's blizzards all over the place.
That's right.
You can be at the house chilling. Other than that, So when you don't want to do this 50 weeks, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, don't come outside.
You ain't built for it.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Just leave it alone, right? So in that case, I love hiring people because just because I hire, I show with fire too, right? But to me, it's cool to give a person opportunity, equip them, say they rock with me for a year, 2 years, then they leave. And I see them out here taking care of their family because now they got their own business running because they've learned how to sell, they learn how to market, now they're doing it for themselves. So to me, that's the impact that I'm looking for because I want people to show up to my funeral. So if I can give you something, because during that period of time, 1 or 2 years we was together, we both made money. There's not a competition here. It's what can we do to work together? And that goes into the philosophy. Would you rather have 100% of a grape or 10% of a watermelon? I'm just trying to get a little piece. So if I can get a piece of whatever's going on in, 7 different things or things that actually really do something, I'll take that.
Yeah. So I probably know the answer to this, but you're not ever really selling your services to these trucks. You're just more so, like I said, interviewing them, right?
Pretty much.
It's more inbound than outbound.
100%. We haven't done, I'll probably say maybe just for training purposes, I think we were doing some cold calling because I was making content for it, but I've never had to reach out to people. Because very early on in my entrepreneurial journey, I started learning how to run Google ads and Facebook ads because I had an apparel line. And so now I understood that was one of the hardest things to do because most people need to be convinced after seeing something 4 to 7 times, right? So I knew that already before I started even doing dispatching. So if I'm running Google ads, Facebook ads, stuff like that, setting up pixels, retargeting people, as long as I do that, and once I understand how to get the audience right, I'm going to get a person to say, do a lead form. Facebook has lead forms. I'm going to get a person to fill out a lead form for maybe $2, right? So that $2, say, okay, cool, that's my acquisition. Okay, spend $100, we had 200 leads coming in on Monday to call.
Right.
Simple.
And they're already coming with the pain.
That's what I'm saying, already. So
the pain is already there. All you got to do is go ahead and remedy the pain.
Thank you. Because why you fill out my form? Because I put on there, you need a dispatcher. This is what you should make, and you filled out the form.
Right, or else they wouldn't have filled it out if they didn't need you.
Thank you.
So you shouldn't have to convince them.
That's it. So you need this, you don't fit out my, okay, next. And we just go right down the list, and people that's qualified, we send them over, boom, put them in their place, and we run them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, let's get back to that word now. I'm going to pull that word strategy back out.
Okay.
So, because you specialize in Hotshots, we can stick there. Unless you want to go some other
don't matter
other equipment types.
Okay.
Or how do you bounce from equipment type strategy? Is the strategy the same for all, or is it different per equipment type? Can you kind of break that down, or give me a framework around what that looks
I
like?
like that. So you digging deep, and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
Let's dig.
I like that.
Let's
you know
go
what I mean?
for it.
So if y'all listen to this, hold on, let me hit the mic. No, I'm playing. Okay, so here we go. So number one, when people come to me, when we talk about the course after the course, people have learned what is a box truck, what's a Hotshot. They learn all that with traditional courses. They understand it. Okay, to me, that does not mean you can do anything. Now we're going to take a step deeper. So the first part of my curriculum is understanding your niche. Okay, so initially I make a person pick one. So here's 5, close your eyes, pick a card if you can't figure it out. So let's say you pull out drive in. I say, okay, cool. From now to, say like 2 days from now, because we give people 2 days, I need you to be a walking, talking, historical documentation for a drive in. Which ones was 48 feet? When were they manufactured? Why? How tall is it from the ground? What are the main commodities that they're going to run? Why is it the number one equipment type? Like what are the highest states in the United States where you can see freight? So now you need to be a walking, talking that before you even think about talking to somebody. Because now when you get on the phone with somebody, say you use a semi-truck, these people are generally not ignorant. A lot of them maybe spent 3 to 5 years working at a company. Then they save up enough money to become an owner-operator. So now when they get on the phone with you, a lot of times when people are doing something, they're not looking at all the education behind it because they're so used to doing it. Right. So now we get on the phone with them, you start understanding your niche. Now you may know some more stuff about drive-in than they even considered. So you have to get that part first. So then we make people be versed. So like what that means. So like let's say I hire somebody tomorrow. When they first start with me, they're gonna get Hotshots and box trucks. That's the mandatory, the first 2 equipment types they're gonna learn about. Right. So we go over everything. We have illustrations, straps. Here's that tarp. Try to pick up that tarp, put it on your shoulder. So when that carrier like, man, why is the low tarp? And they feel some type of way, because you couldn't get it off the ground, right? So we go over these 2 equipment types, and now they only dispatch that for their first year. That worked for me. So 1 year, you can't even ask me for no big truck unless you didn't put in 1 year putting in this work. So by that year, you probably booked 300 loads for the Hotshots and box trucks. So that's how they begin. Then I say, okay, say we got a drive-in, start over. So before I give you the drive-in carrier, you got to go back and forth to me. And if I feel like that you don't take this seriously, I'm going to say no. Come back to me in 30 days. So you have to qualify yourself to now move on to every single equipment type. That's how we vet that to make sure. So now when somebody's been with me, say a year and a half, maybe 2 years, now they can do all 5 well.
Okay.
They already know how to do it.
Okay. Now let's talk. That's one part, but let's talk how we're planning. Right, planning strategy for these equipment types, because everyone is different. You got hot shots, box truck, whatever, right?
Correct.
When you're planning for a hot shot, what do you think? What goes into that for you? Are you planning for the week? When do you start planning? Just kind of break that down, what that looks like.
I got you. I think to be successful dispatching hot shots and box trucks, we will use both.
Yep.
You have to start 2 days ahead. Okay, so the thing that makes them, I would say, so difficult is because a lot of these people don't come from the industry. So there's a lot of ignorance around what they need or the qualifying components. The biggest one, probably hours of service. Secondarily to that is understanding load securement, right? So because of these barriers, like good example, let's use a box truck for those who are listening. If you have 3 different box trucks, one was 2005, 2015, 2026. All 3 of these trucks may have different dimensions just with inside the box. They might say, can they reach the side of the truck? Oh man, my door clearance go up 96 inches. This is a 2015, and the door has never been replaced. So those rollers, they got rust and all kind of old socks and everything. And so I know you think it's gonna go to 96, it might go up to 91. So if we don't know that, when you got to go out there and use a tape measure, we go by what you say, you get a problem.
Right.
Secondarily, that they think because of YouTube, I got non-CDL, I can automatically put 10,000 pounds in this truck. Incorrect. Get it filled, take it to a place, get that scale ticket, send it over to me. And you'd be surprised. Most people 8,700 to 9,300. See, if we would have listened to you, we would have got in trouble. So those kind of things are exclusive to Hotshots and box trucks, but generally you don't have to do the same thing with a big truck, right? So we're preparing 2 days ahead, and if we do that, that's the same thing when it comes to booking freight. So like right now, if I'm here doing this, my team, Fridays, we book loads for Monday. We're trying to get all the loads for Monday booked Friday, because then if it falls through, it doesn't pick up, okay, could we need time to find a load for a Hotshot or box truck? A big truck, I mean, you can probably get them the same day. I still don't like that. I want to stay 1 day ahead. So for the small equipment types, 2 days. Large equipment type, 1 day. because we don't want to just jump on there and just find any load. We want the highest paying load. So our commitment to our clientele has always been, whatever the national average is, we make sure you move greater than that. So if the national average is $175, you move for $2. If it's $4, you moving for $4.50. I don't care. That's just a barometer for us to say, if this is what the national average is, we have to do better than that. Otherwise, why are you using us? Because if you know what the national average is, you might be able to do it yourself and book yourself. So my philosophy for dispatching is the dispatcher needs to be free. So they're free because if you're getting $2 a mile on your truck, you hire a dispatcher, now they're getting you $2.40. If you take out that 10%, which is 20 cents to that dispatcher for the loads that you ran, and you're getting either same or more money to your truck, that dispatcher was free. If they're doing the same thing as you need to cut your losses. So this is not a convenience thing. You ain't got nothing to do? Let me be your dispatcher, because you can focus on the road and I'll book the loads. That this is not what we're doing. It's I'm going to get you more money than you can get, because if I'm on a load board for 8 to 12 hours and I can call 50 people in an hour when you driving, I better book you better paying freight than you can when you waiting for your phone to ring because you driving. And if that's not the case, you don't need a dispatch. Just scrap it. You can save that money. So our clients are not going to be better than us at moving their truck.
Yeah.
Okay, what they talking about?
Now, you just now mentioned Scale Ticket. Are you familiar with Catscale?
No.
So Catscale is our sponsor for the show. So I gotta take
man.
a quick second to
Go
give
ahead.
a shout out to our sponsor, Catscale, and they didn't just release, but they have an app that we're promoting. It's called the Weigh My Truck app. And basically, typically, when you weigh your truck, you have to go in, you have to see the Weighmaster, get the scale ticket. They have an app to where you can pay right there on your phone, and they want people to download that app. So make sure you go to the Weigh My Truck app, Catscale, and that was just a great segue. I had to throw that in there. Download the Weigh My Truck app right now.
Oh, you gotta do that. Yeah, as soon as I get, I'm gonna download that because
You're
that's
not
that.
familiar with Catscale, bro?
I mean, I know the brand.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Brand. I was gonna say,
yeah.
how do you not know Catscale?
Oh yeah. I know the brand.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but I didn't know they had an app and it was doing that.
They have an app. So tell your
Okay.
guys when they scaling, they don't have to go in to see the Paymaster anymore. They just download the app and they can
nice.
just pay right there. It sends it to the dispatcher, everything right there.
Oh,
on the app.
wow, okay.
So it's all good.
I like that.
All right.
See, this is why I come to the truck and hustle, because he's gonna get that game. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be giving it to you and then I'm receiving it. That's what I like. You know what I mean?
No doubt, 100%. All right, back to the show.
Okay.
So, what I love about you is you built a business out of this. So you have, what I like about your mentality and the way you think about things, you try to figure out ways to do less work,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like you are serious about your work, but everything about you is like, how do I do less work?
Correct. But see, and I think that's because me reading these books, like, all the books, like, I forget this one book is like, if you have somebody on your staff and they work 40 hours, it's supposed to take you 4 hours to manage them. Right. So I'm just like, I've read all these books. So now when I start doing stuff, I'm always filtering what I've read in these books. Why is it not working for me? What am I doing wrong when 8 people have echoed the exact same thing and I can't do it? Right. Or like when people ask me, why do you just still do these same 5 equipments? Why don't you get into military or do that? Or, oversize? Why you don't do other stuff if you have all this knowledge? And I say, because I believe in the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Right. So it's like, I'm trying to build a business like McDonald's. I don't want Big Mama's barbecue, where you got to travel from all over the states to come to one place, because then when Big Mama died, what happened to the business?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, people are just so focused on like getting our hands dirty. I understand that's noble. And even a lot of that, I think, is transitioning over from like limited belief from like our parents, because in their time frame, they did everything that was noble, which was upstanding, and they tried to create a way for us. I understand that. Now we have the internet, right? So now I'm able to be exposed to more things that I was not exposed before, nor was I taught in school. So now we have smartphones. So like, me not wanting to get information is me wanting to be willfully ignorant. So now when I say, okay, everything you need to know is in a book you refuse to read. So now when I'm done reading stuff, I'm able to see, man, I ain't doing nothing right. So somebody might listen and say, man, they dispatched 50 trucks. Why we ain't doing 150? That's what I think, right? So I'm like, I hear that and I think, because look at other people are doing it. Or why not boil, right? Like doing insurance. Okay, yeah, I start doing that. I'm terrible. So when I talk about 300 loads, for insurance purposes, I'm terrible so far, right? But I'm working on it. So that same humility that I got to do, insurance is annoying, but it's a blessing because I can bring the education from the trucking side. But then now starting to get comfortable, I'm giving myself 2 years to get comfortable with running the insurance play. And even with that, we've had a couple of agents, but I want to go through this process. So if anybody listening, just real quick, we hiring for everything. So anything I just talked about, we hire. But if you're not serious about what you're talking about, then you ain't gonna make it with me.
Yeah.
Because I need the commitment. I want you to want to be great for you and your family. If you don't have that, I can't use you.
I love it. What is the business model for building the dispatch business or dispatch company? Tell me, like, how do you hire employees? Are they contractors? Are they employees? Just give me an idea what that looks like.
I got you. So traditionally what we were doing is that, when somebody came to the course, they would graduate. I'd make them go at least try to book a few loads, like go out for a couple months, see what it looks like, because I don't want you to think I have this curiosity in your mind. Well, as soon as I left the course, he hired me, maybe I can still do this myself. So I want you to go out there and taste it, fall on your own sword. Then if you reach back to me and say, hey man, I do want to kind of collab, I say, okay, I would love to have you if I thought you was a good student.
Right.
Because like when people come to me, we get it in. So I give them homework, and you'd be surprised. People were paid to come to the course, catch a flight from New Jersey, stay with me for a whole week in Houston, and I give them homework to do. They won't do the homework. So I'm watching everything you do. So when you didn't do the homework and do that stuff, can I hire? No, because you're not taking yourself seriously, right? Like if you wasn't gonna take yourself serious, you could have zelled me that money, and we both could have saved a lot of time, right? So I'm just like, I'm not here for the play, right? I know you told everybody I'm going to this course, and it make you feel
Felt good at the time.
Yeah. Then you hear you like, oh boy, this is too much, right? So I want to over deliver, right? So from that aspect, that's always what we've looked at, I would say, doing to get them, I would say, brought in the door, right? I kind of fell off with the question.
We're talking about the business model.
Yeah, okay,
That's the beginning of it.
Yes, that was the beginning. I'm sorry. So that was in the beginning. That's what we used to hire people. Now we're just kind of going Indeed because now I really want to get more tenured people that maybe went through all of the 300 loads possibly, and they couldn't figure out how to run the business, I think, themselves. So then they had to come back to us. And then if I were to hire that person, I just want to be able to teach them the operational components and then put them in the game. So usually in the very beginning, the first year, we do like a 50-50 split. So let's say if it's a Hotshot or box truck, we charge 10%, they get 5.
Okay.
If we got a semi truck, we charge 8, they get 4, right? So the first year we just focus on that. Then if they make it after the first year, then we include certain bonuses like performance bonus, right? Because for me, for a person to at least make it worth their while, they need to be able to book $15,000 in book freight a week, right? So that's kind of at the 90 days. You can't do that, I need to let you go. Because if I'm giving you the opportunities to do it with the trucks and you just cannot put it together for some reason, we need to go on and leave you where you are. Because the goal for me would be get you that 15. Then maybe after a year of dispatching, you might be between 20 to 30,000. If you can do between that 20 to 30,000, if you get to the point where you want to leave me, and through that process, I will go over some sales and marketing for you. You can see what we're doing. You already looked a bit. We have you calling people after the first year. We get you to close your own carriers. We're not doing it. Like, you the contractor. I already trained you what to say. We go over everything. So now when you want to leave, you have technically booked $100,000 if you was making all the money yourself. So when people sold that to people that you can make 6 figures being a freight dispatcher, the person hasn't done anything. So when you start booking $20,000 to $30,000 a week on whatever equipment type and you leave, you know you can do it. Now you just got to add the sales and marketing to your own business because now you have belief and proof that you can do the work. So that's kind of like how we want to graduate people. Will come, rock with us for 1 or 2 years, you leave, boom, and then it should be fine for you and your family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you decide what to charge the carrier?
I try
Always
to
a flat fee or
yeah.
not a flat fee, but like a percentage, the same percentage or what?
Usually, yeah. So only time, I like the 10% because I want to make sure I'm paying my team well. Because if you're just doing more like I would say an employee model, they probably get 1/4. So instead of getting 5, they probably get 2 or 3%. And I don't like that because, especially this business, not a 40 hours a week. So I want them to be invested, right? I want them to really say, okay, I can come out here and still, if I book 25 or 30,000, I can still make over $1,000 a week. So I want them to be invested with it. So I would say for the past couple of years, we've done hot shots at 10 and then semi trucks at 8. And then we do discounts if they have fleet. So when you have generally say more than 5 trucks, then you might be at 9%. Same thing with the semi trucks, we'll bring it down a little bit because it is less work. But essentially I want to do that 10 and 8 because if they are either OTR or they're regional, my business is still going to make that $300 a truck. And that's what I'm focused on, right? Because you have people that you talk to that come to me and they're like, hey, I got 7 carriers and they made $200 last week. And I'm like, that math does not math. So if you had 7 trucks you ran last week, if each one was making $300, you would have made $2,100. So now I know the business model that you're doing doesn't make any sense. So it's easy for me to identify the problem. So same thing, if I do that same thing, we dispatch 50 trucks, about 70% of your trucks are gonna run every week. So that's 35 trucks running, give or take. If you're making $300 a week, then you do the math. So it's very predictable, but that's the minimum $300 a truck. So it can be 600, 700, 55, 50, whatever. So that way I can understand what the business model is. So no matter how much I need to spend, maybe for the acquisition of leads, it doesn't matter because we're going to get so much more when we put them in our system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is your retention, and when people do leave, right? Why do they leave?
That's a good question. So I would say for us, most people leave because they go out of business, right? And that's what I hate. That's what we're trying to fix with JB Solutions, right? Because when they hear 10%, and then they get somebody else on their phone calling them from overseas and they say 3%. Well, then they make the choice based upon, I would say, price versus value, right? And I know that's a normal thing because they already consider all the overhead, and yet they don't understand these people know what they're doing. So by the time they even may circle back around to us, they're already in such a deep hole. No matter what we do for you, you were already kind of in a sinking ship already, right? And so if you look at it from my experience, you look at most, if you say 81% of people usually fail that first year, right? I'll probably say, by the time 3 or 4 months are in there, a lot of people are already jumping ship. And we see this also from an insurance standpoint. So when you start this insurance and you get somebody set up, you see 3 or 4 months, a lot of them fall off already, right? And it's because they didn't understand, like what I said earlier about the sustainability, they didn't understand. They were just so excited to start, and they just already started a business model that didn't make any sense. So we would dig deeper into that. If you end up looking at what your truck is going to cost, your trailer going to cost, and you get quoted insurance premium, and you're looking at your overhead being $5,000 or more just with them 3 variables, abort. Red flag. Don't do it. Because now we ain't even gotten to the variable. Look at how much fuel is. Like all these other things, you just already can't do it. So for those people listening, if you go to blegistics.net, under the extra tab, you click the little extra tab, it falls down. I have a cost per mile calculator that I built, and I think it's probably the best one for free. It cost me $25 to have it on my website every month, but you can go just yourself, and you can plug in all your numbers, right? Like you get a quote or something, before you say yes to it, plug in all your numbers, and you think, man, if you find out the national average for this equipment type is $1.75, and you type in all your stuff, and you at $1.60, abort. Like, so before you get started,
Abort.
yes, don't even do it. So I think that, to me, that's the easiest way to kind of help people the best that we can to make sure that they hopefully will be successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the N-word.
Okay.
You know what the N-word is?
No.
You know what the N-word is?
What is it?
Negotiation.
Okay.
When you're a dispatcher, how do you negotiate? What are some negotiation tips and tricks that you can give us? Because obviously we're trying to get the right price, right? First one who names the first price loses. What do you think about when you go into negotiations? What are your strategies?
Okay, so I think negotiation is, in business in general, who has leverage, right? So if you don't have leverage, why would somebody give you more than what they want to give you, or what make you think you're going to get an exponential more amount of money when you have no leverage? So this is where it comes into like freight traffic and having a strategy, right? So let's say you live in Arizona, for instance, right? I don't care what equipment type you have. Arizona is going to be rough, right? So if you live in Arizona, thank you. So if you live in Arizona, I know you need $1.75, but you might not get that $1.30. So we can beg, plead, call 42 brokers and all. They still going to say the same thing, $1.30, all they wouldn't give you because they run in that lane, right? So now if that is a situation that we have to do, we have to get you out of there for the best we can. So that might be when a partial may come into play to get you out of there. So there's no such thing as fuel money out here, right? You need to turn a profit. So once you get you out of that place, we have to now strategically put you in places where they're looking for your equipment type. So quick reference to that, you go to the load board, say truck stop is the easy one for that one. When it shows the truck to load ratio, anytime it's hot, that's when you have an ability to negotiate. And that's now when you make up. So if you had to move for $1.50, now when you reposition that truck, now you need $2.50. Because now you back to your $2 a mile. And so that's why the strategy is so important versus chasing gross. So this is how people get in trouble. They want to go to Colorado, fail. You want to run to Florida, fail. Like, I don't care unless they paying $4. So you can drop it off in Miami and come back deadhead to drop off in Jacksonville or something and reposition yourself. Just stay away from it because your truck note is absolute every month. Your mortgage is absolute every month, right? So you just chasing random phantom money is going to get you in trouble. So number one, without all the stuff, because a lot of people say some stuff, you need to have leverage. So outside of you positioning, next one is like, do you have anything specialty, right? Like I know everybody loves 26-foot box truck, non-CDL. That's the gospel right there. If you get them two together, bread. That's what they think. Okay, so, but you can get ones that are CDL, right? So then go ahead and put a little more weight in there. So it's like you can do other things to reposition. Like I remember back in the day when we got started in Hotshots, getting a 40-foot trailer was like, oh, you done made it, right? That 40. Now, man, you go and convert that truck to a tractor, and go get you that 48. You get that 48 and scale, 20, 22,000. Man, that, you eating. You out here running like a flatbed for real with the same type of rates. So now if you don't have anything specialty, unique, unless you're going to use 32 chains on a load. Like if you don't have any of that, you're going to do all the basic stuff, it's going to be hard for you to negotiate. So at least you can have leverage and you get some type of specialty equipment. That's going to be your two things. But most people that do all the cookie cutter stuff, which I understand just to get in the industry, is all about positioning, 100%. Because we can start a brand new authority. We have a list of 14 brokers that will work with a brand new authority day one. When people say, oh, you can't move a truck, all you got to do is TQL. I don't know who lied to you. It wasn't me, okay? So we can move a brand new authority, and you can have a 32-foot trailer, and we have to position you, though. So I know you don't like mountains. You need to get over that. You got a brand new authority. Not done people, hey, man, this is where you need to go. Because like everybody like you saying no, well, if you're going over there, leverage. I know you don't like Illinois. Leverage. I know you don't like PA. Leverage. So that is the variable for us to be able to negotiate and get you more money. This is not a customizable what you want, how you feel, how you going to get it. This is not Burger King. So I know you only go to 3 states, but if your overhead is too high, you're going to run into a problem. So that's when I say, if you knew what you needed to do before you started, it may even change your mind about doing it, right? Because I think the biggest pushback we get, just to be transparent, would be when somebody starts a new authority, I ask them, you got this, ask them some questions. Yes, you need to be over the road. And they get mad. I started my trucking business, going to be in my bed every night. But where you live, in a possibility in 250-mile radius, you're not going to make enough to be able to do that. So now everybody lied to you. You got your compliance company, maybe they lied. You got the person that did your paperwork. They just did a service for you. You went to somebody, you bought a truck. Their job is to sell you a truck. You went to the person for insurance. Their job is to give you insurance.
Yeah.
Now the first person you meet that tells you this is not doing it's the dispatcher, and then you mad at the dispatcher, right? So like everybody else lied to you, you was
Right.
yeah,
Right,
and then
right.
I come, you got mad.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, like every so often, like say my team is busy, somebody's sick, somebody off, a virtual system, whatever, and I do the calls. And if I do 30 calls in a day, at least one person gonna be mad. Because I'm gonna tell them, I know what you're trying to do. That's not gonna work. You got new authority, you work on, that's not gonna, and who you tell me what ain't gonna work? I said, oh, you wanna go through brokers? Yeah, and they get mad in their feelings. I said, I'm trying to help you to tell you what you need to do to be successful. Now, if you had direct customers, contract, that's different. But starting this trucking business, running to data truck stop, this is what you need to do. And when they don't wanna hear the truth, what can you do?
Yeah, and I've heard, of course, there's tons of courses and tons of guidance out there. A lot of people will say you have to find out what what the carrier wants, and then
Yes.
you cater to that need.
Absolutely
And
not.
you're saying no.
Never. Let me tell you why. Okay. This is why I look at
Have
it.
you heard that before, though?
Everybody say that.
Okay,
And
I
I
was
say,
just saying that's the guidance I've heard.
yes.
Yeah.
And I tell them that makes no sense to me. Okay. I think people in this industry, because a lot of people that are in trucking, they've been in trucking, that's what they do. Like, 25, 30 years, which man, that's a blessing, right? You've been locked in. But it's like you have a term called a contractor. That means you're hiring somebody who already has a skill, and now you're bringing them onto your business with the skill they have. How are you going to be telling them what to do? That means they need to be an employee. That means you should have trained them.
That's right.
So when you go into an independent freight dispatcher and they're getting equity in your business, how are you supposed to tell them what they supposed to do if they're looking on this at a grand scale, right? Because you look at the person, let's say they dispatch themselves. They may be looking at 3 loads a week, 4 loads, maybe 5 loads a week. If we dispatching 50 trucks, we're looking at 50 loads a week. I'm telling you, what you're trying to do is not going to work because we see it on a large scale. So now, my mindset is you go back to the beginning. Why did you start this business and get your authority? Before you started that, you should have paid for a business plan, right? Then after that, maybe reach out to a dispatch company, ask what the qualifying components were per your equipment type. Then with to go start everything. And so everyone, I know that you haven't done your due diligence. When you did all of the paperwork, got the truck, got the trailer, got the insurance, and now who gonna give me freight? You skipped a step, right? So finding your dispatch company should have been the first couple of steps you did before you ran and thought, okay, I did all of this, now what is next? And that's when it's too late because now the marketplace has people unqualified calling your phone and you don't know how to make a proper decision. I wrote an ebook about that, right? The ebook is 7 questions every carrier should ask before hiring a dispatcher, right? Because they're not interviewing the dispatcher like I'm interviewing clients. They should be interviewing both sides, and they're not doing that. They just, I need freight. You gonna give them to me? You gonna give me loads? Okay, let me fill out your care agreement. They just happy that somebody finna give them freight. But you need to have a systematic approach of what questions you're asking to find out if this dispatch is full of crap or not.
You want to run the questions down, or at least give us 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 7? I don't know.
I mean, I don't even know it like that. I wrote that more 3 or 4 years ago. So it's on the website. I think it's on like $7
Just
or
give,
$9.
just give us
right?
like the top 3 that come to mind.
I go back. I know one of the things that comes back is the niche, right? So let's say somebody got a box truck. Explain to me what strategy you utilize to move box trucks, and you give them yours, and you get quiet, right? And so I learned to do that question because last time I came here and I left, and I had everybody on my phone, like it was going crazy. I had to set up a calendar because the inbox.
That's how you was on Truck and Hustle.
Yes.
Let's just
Change the game.
Make sure they know
Man,
what we're talking about.
I'm going to use this. I'm from Texas. It blew upshuated the business. Blew upshuated, right? I was like, what the heck? Phone going crazy. I said, oh, boy, they love me in these streets. Thank you, Truck and Hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
there you go. You know what I mean?
No problem.
I'm always going to shout that from the rooftop, right? So because of that, people started reaching out. Everybody was saying the same stuff. I took a course. It was good, but I can't get a carrier. And okay, so that happened 30 times in a row. I think to myself, are they hiding from you? Like, where's Waldo? Like, I'm so confused. What do you mean you can't get one? Are they hiding? So that was like that was my thought process. I said, okay, instead of that being the question is why should they choose you? Because everybody know you can go to FMCSA and get some people just cold calling. That's not, everybody know that. Okay, so now the question is not where are they or how do I get them, is why should they use you? Okay, so because before you start a business, you're supposed to go into it to solve a problem. So now that question is why should they choose you? Okay, so based upon that, I will give them a scenario right on the phone because I was doing 10-minute calendar calls back then for free. They reach out to me, tell me the same stuff. Hey, brother, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. I got to take this course. It was good. I said, okay, let me ask you this question. I said, okay, I got Hotshots, Houston, Texas, 40-foot trailers. I need to make $5,000 a week. Tell me what you're going to do to make that happen. So I started asking that question probably October of 2020. If somebody would have called me yesterday, no one's ever got that answer right. So I said, I know when you went to that course, you thought it was good, right? Because new information feels amazing, but you didn't test it and try to know if it was applicable to what you need to know in order to get the acquisition you're looking for. So now when you get on my phone, some people took 4 courses, and I asked that question, and they just like, well, it depends on what you want to do. That is incorrect. I'm asking you. You want equity in my business, which means we're business partners. Your position is to give me value. So how you gonna give my trucks $5,000 a week? Well, I'm gonna take it up to so-and-so. About what does that lane pay? I don't know. Then where we gonna go? Because I can be over the road 3 weeks. Walk it out for me. What we gonna do for 3 weeks? How I'm gonna get my money? Never. So for dang near 6 years, no one ever asked that question. So I knew you are unqualified. This is why when you have a conversation with a person, they're not convinced to use you. Hence why you sent out 13 carrier agreements and got back 0. And that's just what it is. So I would say in that question, one of the things is explain your niche, give me an example of how you've been historically successful at running my equipment type, and ask for details. When there is no details, they don't have experience, they're not the right one.
So now I got to ask you the question.
Good.
The question that you asked them to ask, I'm asking you.
Oh, that's an easy question, right? So immediately, if you look at the hours of service, what you can do legally, because we should be doing nothing that's illegal, right?
For sure.
We're not smarter than the system, and you running the load, trying to get the extra $1,000 a week is not worth your life if something happens because you didn't get no sleep, okay? So if you're going to look at, I use the simple math of 2,500 miles loaded, because I know people like, what about deadhead? If you got a Hotshot box truck, you can't say that, okay? Because you don't dominate the market. I can't just put a pin and got 300-400 loads for you, so you're going to have a little bit more deadhead, right?
That's right.
So because of that, if I got a Hotshot in Houston, Texas, I need to make $5,000 a week. Even if you're doing on the lower end, making $1.80, if I put up 2,500 miles, but you're going to reposition me in better places in the United States, 2,500 loaded miles, if my average is $2 a mile, is the 5 bands. And I'm going to tell you, in the Midwest, generally in the United States, since I've started dispatching till today, is where they're looking for Hotshots. So if you leave Texas, and I know Texas is big and people get excited, but if you don't got a contract, hook up, if you're not in a good old boy clique, like you ain't finna get none of that, right? So you got to leave Texas, and even though it's big, everybody and mama driving a semi truck. a dually, right? Grandma's out there jumping out a dually to get groceries, okay?
That's right.
So you got to get to the place. So if you leave at $1.75, you get to the Midwest, now you got $3. So when you reposition, you'll make up that law of averages. Simple as that. So give me $2 a mile. I go 2,500 miles. So I run to Minnesota, bring me down to Virginia, take me from Virginia down to South Carolina, so bring me back up, drop me off in Illinois. Like just run that little pocket in the United States, as people call it the game zone. If you put up 2,500 miles, the math will math. Simple.
How much do you educate them on cost per mile versus rate per mile?
I love that, right? So you have a huge division here, right? When people say gross is the cure-all, some people say rate per mile is the cure-all, right? And I say you need both, right? Because if your truck know your fixed expenses are high, you also need to touch a certain amount of gross. Then to make sure you're making a profit, you also need to have a certain rate per mile. So when you start doing the calculation rate per mile, you need a higher rate per mile if you're going to be regional, because most time regional, you might put up 1,700 miles in a week on a consistent basis. You put up 2,500 miles in a week, it'll actually allow your rate per mile to be lower, and you can still do more. So now, depending on your availability, which are you regional or you over the road, depends on kind of where we fall when it comes to rate per mile. But I think that's extremely important. But that's when I said, going back to the original, if your overhead is too high, I could try to get you that $2 a mile, even if you hit that number, and that still might not even do it for you because the overhead is too crazy. Because people will go out here and just think of gross instead of what it is, because you got to calculate both of those, and they still won't win.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a conversation of both. That's why we made the calculator, so you can go there and learn exactly where you. Or one of the other things I talk about is kind of like a little trick to the trade. If a person still struggles with that, is that whatever the fuel that you spend in a week, you better not pay yourself the same or more than that. So your fuel should be more expensive than what you pay yourself. Because the game has never been get one truck and you're going to be rich. Never. That ain't never been a game. I don't care who come up here and say what. Again, let's argue. Okay, so we can go live and argue about these things.
So expound on the fuel thing. Where do you get that from? The fuel should be more. Say it one more time.
Yeah. So let's just say somebody's regional or over the road.
Yep.
Okay. Just to keep it simple, if you didn't understand the rest, whatever you pay in fuel, you should pay yourself less than that in a month, right? So if you say, oh man, my fuel bill is $5,000, pay yourself $3,000, because that's really the number. People sit with me and they go over, hey man, let's go over business plan. I tell them, you need to pay yourself no more than $3,000 a month, because half the people will tell you, I want to start this business, I'm going to do it for 1 to 2 years, I'm going to hire somebody, I'm going to put in my truck. I don't know why that is the story of people's life. I don't know why that's just like everybody say the same story. And I said, putting somebody in the truck, why does it have to take 1 to 2 years? I don't understand. I want experience. For what? Okay, so if you go drive for 1 to 2 years, how is that going to be good for somebody? You can hire somebody to drive for 10. Why? Why do I need to waste any time driving if you're already better than me? Right? So I'd rather put you in a truck, know what I need to pay you, and you go do it. And we both win.
Right.
So that's my mindset. So for that person that usually says that, well, if $3,000 ain't enough, then don't, again, I keep pushing that. Don't do it, because you need to make sure that the business is getting paid a certain amount of money. It does not all belong to you. So this is when I get frustrated. Say we go online or sometime and I say, hey man, this carrier made $20,000 this month on gross. And people come in the comments. Yeah, break down the fuel and the insurance and the gas. And I say, okay, let's play that game. Let's say somebody says I make $80,000 a year in my job. I should do the same thing in your comments. How much is your rent? How much is your fuel? How much you spent on Starbucks last week? Didn't you go out with your girl? Did you go to the movie? I should ask them same, but ain't nobody do that over there, right? So ain't nobody playing with you when they talk about gross.
Right.
But every single individual business has their own profit margin.
Right.
That's the thing. So me telling you about one man's profit margin ain't yours. Yours could be worse or better. Like, so that does not mean anything. What is yours though? Because especially again, from the insurance, we have 3 people in the same city, seemingly the same age. The underwriters will send us 3 different quotes. So I'm just like, you cannot just base it on what somebody else is doing. You got to figure out your business. Or they say, mind the business that pays you.
That's right.
That's what people need to focus on.
It's funny that you mentioned the word business plan. Well, it's 2 words, business plan, because I've talked to a lot of small carriers and none of them have a business plan.
0.
Like literally none.
Correct.
Why is that?
Again, I think it's because, and I love people use this statement a lot. This is going to something else we're going to be mad about, okay? A leap of faith. I think that statement has gotten more people in trouble than any other statement in general, because I think it's justifying ignorance, right? So I know you don't have an understanding of how something's going to play out. Nobody does. I don't know what's going to happen 20 minutes from this. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's a responsibility for God to know the end from the beginning. That has nothing to do with me right now. When you have information that's available, You have people you can pay to tell you these things. It's a calculated decision to want to start a business, right? So let's switch gears. Let's say if I got a landscaping business. I can't just start saying, I want to charge $100 to cut grass because that's what I want. That's what I feel like I deserve. If I do my research and the market says it's $42, guess what I'm going to charge? $42, right? So now I have to find a way to cut my cost if I won't make more money,
That's
or
right.
I need to upsell something in general, right? So not having that business plan in general is where the monopoly money comes in, because yes, it sounds crazy. You got a job making $1,000 a week. Now you can get a truck, and the truck is $6,000 you can put on gross. But what is your profit margin? So when you go back and just Google this, I challenge everybody listening to this, Google this. Even though it's a truck and trailer, that's kind of falls on the same categorization as like a brick and mortar based upon how it can go. Because most people out here buying used trucks, they're not buying new ones, all of that, right? So if you look at the same thing, a low profit margin is 5, a mid is 10, and high is like 20, right? Let's just say you use that as a basis. That basis of saying even 20% profit margin is what I can just say simply, which, hey man, whatever your fuel is, you pay yourself less than that, you will still be safe. So even if you don't want to do all the math, you don't want to pay somebody, that's fine. If you at least use that as like some type of barrier to understand, you should still somewhat be safe, because this truck is going to break down. Somebody might hit you. This might be a snowstorm, floods. You're going to have to sit down for some time, periods of time. If you have not been feeding the business, you're going to have a problem, right? So from my mindset is this. Like, one of the things that I do very early on, I forget what book I heard this from, or maybe it's a philosophy on a podcast, right? Is a lot of times people ask me, how much money has your business made? I honestly don't know till December. I never know what none of the businesses are making on revenue, because I've just learned it doesn't belong to me, okay? So let's say we use a 30% profit margin as an example, right? Okay. If it's $100 coming in, I got this little book. So all my business, I got this little book. It's like a little journal. So when I go look at all the numbers that people do, I go in my little journal and I write down how much is mine. So if I see, $100 came into business, I write down 30. So all I know every week is what I made. Everything else, it don't belong to me. That belongs to staff, infrastructure, overhead, load board. So I don't care. So now I look at that money's being faked too in the bank account. So I focus on what I'm making. So I think if people focused on that, they would be okay. That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to come out and get one truck and be rich. So to start out with humble beginnings, because I know people say, well, I've been driving for a person, I made $5,000 a month. Now I'm supposed to work for myself and make less? Yes, because that's like that job hired you. So they had enough money to build infrastructure, get direct customers. See, they had to reinvest. That's why they gave you a job. So now when you take on that same burden of now you want to be an employer, that's why I said that earlier, right? Now you need to be almost paying yourself as little as humanly possible to feed the business. You have to feed the business more than you're concerned about feeding yourself. Without that mentality, that's when people crash out and burn in 1 to 3 years. I'm burned out. Who told you to do everything? Right? Like, I'm not burned out for nothing. I got all these businesses. Well, I'm ready to work right now. Right? I'm ready. I got ADD, right?
You want to start an LLC right
Hey,
now?
right now. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, truck and hustle and them. You know what I'm saying? You can put any M at the end, you know? And whatever that name is, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? You tell me, Brandon, I got this. Just do that part. We're going to run it right now. I got my guy right here with the camera. He heard it right here, right? We going to start it. You know what I'm saying? So if the listeners don't see that LLC, just know he was scared. He didn't want to work with me. It was him. It was you.
Scared.
Yeah.
Oh man, yo, that is funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Good stuff. All right, man. What didn't we touch on the dispatching? We touched on negotiation.
Yeah.
We touched on sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Touched on the business model, pricing. Did we talk about pricing? That's kind of negotiation-ish.
Yeah.
So I think we covered all the dispatch stuff.
Yeah.
And you said that's your favorite business to date.
It is. Just because it has the healthiest margins, I think, without doing too much, right? So I think when most people want to start in transportation, I know people start with the truck. That's the normal thing. And I think that's where people get people in trouble. Just look at the statistics, right? So now, for me, either one person needs to drive a truck, one person needs to be an independent dispatcher for the family business, because at the end of the day, it makes the best margins, right? Because it's like out of all the businesses I have, dispatching is the only one where literally I still to this day, I don't do TMSs. Like, we make our own stuff in-house, but I don't pay for anything. If it's not access to load boards, like, I'm not trying to pay for nothing. I'm still using Microsoft Excel sheets. And I say because
No software subscriptions.
Thank you. I'm trying to do nothing. I try to teach people, like, why I want to do all it. How much money you making? Because I know you want to be fancy. People love to be fancy. Oh, they got a website for $2,000. How many people go to that website every day? I don't know. Then why you got one? Right? So it's like people are so worried about being fancy, but at the end of the day, you need to get paid. If you're not getting deposits where you can take care of your family, what are we doing? And I think that's the part of people wanting to look like they're doing something than actually being that thing. And so that's the thing about business, it's gonna humble you. And so people that worried about what it look like, that's why when everything falls and the economy crashes and, COVID and, the rate's been terrible for 4 years, that was showing everybody who was really doing something, who wasn't.
That's right.
So when you just live very basic and everything like that, but if something happens, you should be able to go pull that out the business. You're gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's all about what you can control. So when you got the LLC, the EIN number, the government sees you as a person. So Brandon is a person, my business is a person. So I'm worried about what I control versus what I'm putting in my pocket to go do something with that don't mean nothing. So the very basic element of me and my narrative of like just what I've learned in business is that the game is to get assets, right? We understand that rich dad, poor dad. And so people look at that as physical assets, but a person is an asset too. So when somebody works for you for 40 to 60 hours a week and you look, okay, I put them in a game, they work here with me, they make this amount of money, this comes into business, it's both are assets. So no to little to no liabilities, all assets. So I use it like this. If I had $10 to my name, I'm gonna spend $8 feeding the business. Every day of the week, 8. Because what do I need, right? And so I think that's the part when you grow up, I'm trying to be funny, and when people grow up in their mentality, right? When you're a grown person, you're supposed to be worrying about legacy, leaving something better for other people. I love the Bible talks about good man leaves an inheritance for his children, right? Like, what do you think you deserve? So that's a conversation. I deserve to go retail therapy. Who told you that, right? So like when I've eliminated that I deserve something, I started hitting some type of goal in general, because better is not a goal. So when I hit a goal, yes, celebrate it. But outside of that, I have the ability to wake up every day, hire people, change, move how I want to move, wear what I want to wear, impact people, influence people. That in itself feeds me. I don't need a tangible thing outside of my being to make me feel better. You know what I mean? So I think that's what people that get to that place. Once they get to that place, they'll understand that if the business is doing well, I got people's lives I'm impacting, I can pick up the phone and somebody on my staff can go to vacation and come back. That to me is the fulfillment of the return more than me going to go get a certain type of a car. But I think that's just a fact of like just growing up in a business mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Man, you cooking today, my brother. You cooking.
No, I had the Celsius, you know what I mean? Had my energy tightened up, you know what I mean?
He cooking.
And came here, I got my boots on. See I don't know if the camera gonna catch these boots, but you need to catch these boots one time. Go ahead and scroll down. Go ahead. So if you scroll down quick, let them see when from Texas, you know what I mean?
Oh man, you making him happy because he loves this shot right here. So now he gets a chance to use it
there
and
you
show
go.
your boots. So
there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so anybody else that coming from Texas, wear your boots.
Wear the boots.
Represent for us.
That's 100%. That's a fact. So now in the business, are you actively dispatching?
No.
Yeah,
I'll let that go in 2021, right? Okay. So when we decided to say, okay, you know what? I need to go from, this is why I look at it. I need to move from being a business owner to being an entrepreneur, right? So, okay, I need to own the system, not have my hand in the day-to-day operations, okay? So when I made that transition from 2020, 2021 to start bringing people on and equipping them, I decided to stop dispatching in. So I have not booked a load since 2021. I've done it a couple times for content purposes. Like I'll be like, let me sit with my team. I'm like, okay, who we looking for? And they'll give me the person's name. I say, okay, cool. And boom, I do a load board just in case, one day everybody does like an Exodus or something. I'm stuck by myself. So I need to know the basics, right? So I get on and be like, okay, I found one. I'll do a little dance and then I'll turn up, right? But I probably say like from 2021 to now, maybe I booked 2 loads. But when I put my hat down for it, I don't want to go back. Right, because now based upon the knowledge, the system, all the stuff, because half of the resources that I built, I have like over 50 resources on B Logistics website. Half of those resources was I tried it in-house, it worked, and then I put a logo and just threw it on the website. But I don't even actively push the website. People just know because of the brand that we have stuff.
Yeah.
Because I never got caught up in, I just want to have a business where I'm selling products online and that's going to suffice the business. I look at that, that's like icing on a cake. Because you go back and study the largest businesses that we have around us, they have staff, structure, employees. Walmart doesn't have 3 ways to overcome, and they got it for $50, and they just run it up. Because if you go back and look just from 2020 to now, the people that were focused on that in our society, or let's say in our circle of influence, right? they don't do that no more. So that wasn't sustainable. But if you look at a person who has infrastructure, they have people, they still here.
That's right.
So I never got caught up in the extra stuff. I'm just, hey, I got these resources on the website. And I hire somebody, everything you need to know is on the website. Let me know what you need. You would do it. I'll ask you, we go. If somebody goes to the website and buy it, that's extra.
Yeah.
So that's why I've always looked at it.
How do you stay sharp, man? How do you keep your knowledge base? Make sure you know what's going on. You know what I mean? You're not out the loop, right?
I understand.
Like, that's what I'm looking for. I can't find the words right now, but how do you make sure that you're sharp in your?
I think that's the point of having good people. Like I praise God for my team because I got good people with me for years. So every day I get some type of debriefing. So I'm not removed from, knowing what's going on, right? So I'm like, okay, so that's a conversation for 30 minutes every day, either before the day, after the day. I look at all the data every day, where are we at for booking loads? And so I look at everything because I'm big into having my phone, right? So it's like, that's what me being so old school. So like if I got any type of, Microsoft Excel or anything that we're doing, or if I use a certain invoicing app, I download everything from my phone. So I can sit back and click, and I'm looking like, man, so-and-so ain't booked no load. I can just text, why you book no load? Or I text my what's going on? Are they asleep? Are they not here? Did they wake up this morning? Right. So we have certain checks and balances from literally from 7 o'clock in the day to 7 o'clock in the evening. There's a systematic approach to everything that we do. Every couple of hours, there's checks and balances. So when somebody's not doing the checks and balances, we just let them go. So the system is just running by itself. I don't have to do anything. It's just when they come, I plug them in the system, and the system is going to train them. That's what we learned from looking at, Henry Ford II. You look at, how they built the 9-to-5 corporate aspect, right? So it's like the system is going to be what your business is hinged on, not individuals. And so because of that, the philosophy should be you should build a business and put people in it. You're not supposed to build a business for you, right? So if you think about like use McDonald's again. McDonald's business model is so simple. They have a store manager that's 21 years old. How's that possible, right? It's because they put 3 pickles, 1 squirt of ketchup, 1 squirt of... They've been doing this for 75 years. It's the exact same thing. So if you want to work over here, this is what you finna do. They're not bending and adjusting for individuals. So that's what I'm saying. You build a business, this is what we do, we plug them in. Same thing, like I got a landscape business. When people reach out to us for maids, we have one service, and you can make it higher than that, like a la carte, but you're going to get the standard.
Right.
Oh, man, that's like double the price. That means you ain't our customer, right? So when you build a business and you know it's valuable, you got to find customers for that said business. That's it. And so a customer is the one that pays you, right? So like the social media, people, I got 10,000 followers on my social media. How many transactions? Right. So it's like that conversation still, because it's not fluff in business. It's what's the acquisition? What's the churn rate? How much does it cost for the acquisition? Okay, if it costs you $50 to get, like, let's talk some data and some numbers. So because I don't have to do a lot of the daily operations of my business, I'm able to listen to podcasts every day. I'm able to still read my books. Like I have these things where I'm always keep my mind on the business. So when some people ask me, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? No, because I have this big board in my house that I write down the goals. I ain't hit none of them. Since this year started, I ain't think I'm even close to nothing, right, that I put out here for this year. Right. So I'm constantly in the mindset of frustrating, but I know what the problems are. Now my job is to try to fix them, to go from where we are today to the place we're trying to get to.
Are they ambitious goals?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to always do some stuff, right?
I'm saying, like, when I the reason why I'm asking that is because do you plan, like, big picture, or do you plan, like, oh, we just got to reach this, like something that looks a little bit more reasonable? Like, what do your goals look like?
I'm very unreasonable.
Like, buy a plane. That's my goal.
No. You don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, or is it like us? Acquire 5 customers this month. What does your goals look like?
Yeah, it's more like the secondary. Like, so for instance, right? So, like right now we're in the process of hiring people, right? So this last week I had like 2 weeks ago, I guess at this point,
for the dispatch company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought in 3 people, and only 1 made it through just even training. Because when I started going on my expectations, people don't like that.
You run a tough ship.
Hey, man,
ship.
That's what I'm saying. But the system, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to put them in the system, and the system will take care of them.
Right.
But to get them from where they wild west to being molded into the system, a lot of people don't want to be molded, which is fine. So that's why my thing is like, okay, I want to have at least 6 to 7 dispatchers by end of June. I don't know if we're going to get that, because I know I ran through like 6 or 7 since the year started. And this is because they keep bucking the system. So this one, I'm like, man, when people come to me for a week and they train, they get to understand, man, this works. They're around me, they're around my team, they see other dispatchers, they looking at, they booking $20,000, $30,000 a week. So then when they say they want to work for me, they stayed. But these people I'm getting from Indeed, they think they know more, they other job, I don't care what your job did, then why are you here? So now when I'm trying to get you to plug into what this looks like, the rebellion makes it to where they get kicked out of the system. So from all my businesses, I set certain goals on it where, okay, these things are going to help us grow exponentially. And it feels like I just have not been hitting them. I mean, we're doing good on a lot of things. If you're comparing, I feel like, we saw people start comparing themselves, it looks good. So like me, by the end of this year, I want to at least have 75 trucks that we dispatch for. So somebody else that's looking like, oh, they trying to get 5. Okay, that's good for you, right? Success is making a goal and hitting it. So now my thing is we finna ramp it up. Rates are crazy. This is a heck of an opportunity. I missed it in 2021. We're going to try to be hiring people every single month to try to hit this 75 trucks at the end of the year. And if I don't make it, if we finish the year and we have 74 trucks, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to crash out.
I believe you too, man. So I'm going to crash out. He means that.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, we got to hit it. Because I understand, through the process of having goals, yes, you're going to get better.
Facts.
But there's something in your mind when you take the thing that's unknown and you made it tangible. Like, so then when things get terrible, you're already convinced. It has to work. I know nothing around me is proving it's going to work, but I believe in just keep showing up every day it's going to work. So to me, I think, if you don't believe that it's possible, you don't have the ability to work and endure when things ain't going your way. That's why I think you cannot chase money. Money is not sustaining enough. You got to chase a reason. So if you look at stuff like what's your why, like Thomas Siniak, and he's identified, if you put your why, attach it to something that's external, that's not with you, then when things go bad, you have an ability to endure. Like look at something, like somebody might have, like you might say, man, I'm never gonna go to jail. I'm keeping all my stuff, whatever your convictions are. Let somebody do something to your kid. Boy, all that go out the window, you're gonna come jump off the roof on them, right?
That's right.
So when you make reasons stronger than something that's just for yourself, then you have the ability to endure. And that's what I'm saying. If you focus on being the best, you focus on leaving a legacy for your family, you focus on retiring your parents, then when things ain't going your way, you still have a better reason than your excuses to continue. So that, to me, that's the essence of entrepreneurship, none of this other stuff. And that's why I think that, in 2020, 2021 exposed a lot of people that wanted to just come out here because it was a new thing to do, and they got ate up and spit out, and they went right back to like as if they never did it before because they weren't built for this. And I don't even recommend it for people. I wish I could just go to sleep without trying to dream big and all that kind of stuff and want to push goals, right? I'm just wired like this.
Right.
Like we could do amazing this month, and I'm like, okay, but next month we start over at 0. So I need that same energy, right, that we had last month. So like that desperation of always pushing boundaries, it's just like it's either in you and you love the game or you don't. Because to me, at the end of the day, it's a game, right? If I do it the right way and I win, my family life can be different forever. Right? Because this is what I do with people, to try to show them about the timeline of life, okay? So if we got time, we're going to do it real quick, right? So
let's get it.
So I do this timeline. I put one side of the timeline, draw a line to the other one. I said, okay, now let's look at your life. It has a 0 for when you were born, and the very end has an 80, okay? And I ask people, how old are you? And they tell me how old. I say, okay, cool. Let's just start without any considering you at all, okay? So from 0 to 16, you needed 3 things: food, water, and shelter to live. Either your parents provided it, a system provided it, somebody, otherwise you wouldn't be here, okay? And you didn't make no money, none. You did not contribute financially to your well-being, and you had these 3 things that survived, okay? Then when you get 16, you get a car. Now, that getting a car, and people said, I have freedom now. I can go do some stuff, I got a job, and you start feeling yourself at 16, okay? Now, when people think that their success is attached to more time, then it's okay, let's look at this timeline. So that means from 16 to 32, which is now 100% of your life again, you still need food, shelter, water, but now you got this car. But at the same time you got this car, now you can work. So are you a millionaire at 32? And they'd be like, no. Why? Because when you didn't make no money, you was existing, okay? Now you start making money, all you did is get a car, and now you're not a millionaire yet. Okay, so now, if we don't wake up to that fact at 32, then when you live 100% of your life again at 64, you a millionaire yet? No. And that's the bad thing, because in our culture, a lot of times, you'll see people, live to be 75 years old. We still got to do some stuff to bury them because they never woke up to this reality. This is not an issue of more time. The issue is how you think. So we need to stop this process of being ignorant. Just, I wake up. No, we woke up today to do what? So why did you get a day versus somebody else? Why you though, right? So now when I say, okay, if it's a bigger purpose than me to waking up every day, then I should be doing something for somebody that's coming after me. So now, based upon that timeline, you're at 64 now. At this time, the workplace thinks you're irrelevant, essentially, right? They cast you out. So now you're going to be working at Walmart or something like that, maybe swiping receipts, whatever it is. I'm not trying to be funny, but that's the reality that we encounter every day. Okay, so now, if I consider that, and this is the timeline, and I don't think I'm special, then why not go risk it all when I can do whatever I want to do? Because again, all I need is food, shelter, and water. So if you treat people right, people love you, you do right by people, they'll let you come sleep on their couch. But see, people too worried about humbling themselves to be able to survive, you will never do it. So that keeps you in this problem. So at the end of the day, what is the risk? Because if it works, I could change my family's life forever. If it don't work, I was gonna be working at Walmart anyway. Okay. Then on top of that, we still gonna die. Okay, so Walmart and death are still at the end of this timeline. So what do you mean risk? Because we use the statement, no risk, no reward. And I think people internalize it and they think no risk, maybe a reward. That's not the statement. No risk, no reward. So now put yourself through something when you're able-bodied, your mind is sharp, you got a sound mind, we got the internet, you got chat, you got all of the stuff that can give you a strategic way of doing some stuff. Now you just need to believe in yourself enough to go do it. So I think it starts with looking at the person in the mirror first and ask yourself the question, am I willing to do whatever it takes that my future can look completely different? And so for me, I throw everything against the wall. I don't care about none of that. Because I'm going to crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like it needs to, what we doing? Because if I get to that point, I say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I want to sell this business. Now I can go sell it for meals. If I sell it for meals, you need about $3 million to put in the trust to be able to retire. So that's the conversation. What can we do to get $3 million? So we're not talking about that. That reality is still waiting for us. So that's why my expectation is unrealistic. Yeah, praise God, thank you. I can wake up every day and do what I want. That's cool, but that's not my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. The philosophy for you.
I love that, man. That was dope, man. That was good stuff, man. Did you rehearse that, or did that just come?
Well, I be flowing with it. You know what I mean?
You had me here. I'm just sitting there like, God damn.
Yeah, I mean,
this brother is prolific.
Yeah, but I'm saying, see, that's what I was doing before I started talking about business on the social media. Right, but I mean, like, from speeching or doing that, I mean, because I teach Bible studies, I do a lot of things, right? So with doing that, it's like you have to look at the lens of life being for what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing to wake up every day. It's gonna be a blessing to go home, be with the Lord one day. Both of those things. So now because of that, what are we doing? And so I think so many people are so used to having fake conversations. Yeah. We're not talking about nothing that's real. So people around me, they know it ain't nothing off topic. We can talk about all the stuff. Yeah. If you don't like it, I mean, I just not your cup of tea, right? But if you want to have the conversation, I hope to impact your life. Because again, if I can impact you, you impact me, something happens to us crazy, man, the family, when people show up to the funeral and they get on the mic, and I can say, bruh, if it had not been for that boy Ramel, man, I don't know where my business would be, right? So the people that are missing time with you right now because you working or doing other stuff or traveling, right? They need to hear that to console them when you're no longer here. That I know he robbed time from y'all to lend it to us, and we're thankful for that. If that's not on our mindset, then again, what are we doing though? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's some real conversation I like to have, and I like to poke people and antagonize and let's argue and all that kind of stuff. Right? So I have my own, maybe people say immature way of doing it, right? Or some of you might say messy, but it works, exactly. Because when you provoke people, they think, I'm going to prove them wrong. Right. And then, but certain things you ain't going to change. So if you go look at, most people ain't going to live to even be 80. You can't argue that. Otherwise, we wouldn't look around and see this thing happening right in front of us, because no one doing that today thought, you know what, at 32 years old, I'm going to be working at Walmart when I get anything that. It's just the fact that they kept thinking, I just keep waking up every day, and they had no plan to change. So you keep waking up every day, that's just what happens at the end.
100%, man. 100%. All right, call to action, man. Who you want to reach? Who do you want to send a word out to? Who are you looking for? Partners? You got so much things going on. Like,
correct.
If somebody's listening, who are you looking for right now?
Everybody. Okay. I told you I was unrealistic, right? I don't even have a certain thing, but I put it like this, right?
Right.
If you looking to collab, I don't know what you do, reach out, because at the end of the day, the worst thing that happens is I'm gonna tell you no, right? Just because I don't know what you may bring to the table. I don't sit here and think I've figured it all out, none of that, right? So if that's the case, reach out, right? Now, on top of that, if you a dispatcher, you struggling, you can't figure it out, you want to come maybe be a part of our team. I'm looking at 2 or 3 different people at the posting or taping of this right over y'all here, right?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, because then maybe something happened. I'm looking for 50 people. You know what I'm talking about? But right now, I would say 2 to 3. But even within those parameters, if you're not empathetic, then I'm gonna got some questions for your head, right? If you're not really wanting to say, you know what, during COVID, we saw what it would look like if these trucks start moving. We got a little glimpse, right? And so that'd make you think, wow, we should have a trucker holiday like Thanksgiving out here and shut down the whole world so they could be at home and do some stuff for them. You weren't paying attention. So if you ain't got that mindset, I don't want you. So that's the dispatcher side. Then on top of it, the insurance brokerage. We're looking for agents, right? You got that PNC license, you got that dog, you're not scared of social media, you want to put in some work, we're looking for you, right? So that would be my 2, like when it comes to infiltration of the staff people, right? And our clientele. If you out here and you don't know what you're doing, hey, we might be the dispatcher, we got a spot on our curriculum, in our roster right now. You know, anything else, I would really say like anything, we're working on some software, somebody got some stuff they want to collab on. Like I'm really here to do a lot of things because I do believe in SaaS, software as a system. We have 3 or 4 things we're working on. We hopefully should have them in the marketplace in the next 3 months. So really I would say anybody, right? Because you can learn something from any type of person because they have a different worldview than you. And I like to just pick and choose certain things that I may do that not do. So a little bit of everything, but exclusively dispatchers, agents for insurance, as well as clientele. Hey, if you got a truck and trailer, you feel like, you're not getting it done right, you don't know what step to go. But on top of it, you're looking for a truck. Like any of the service that I talk about, we're here for it. So from A through Z, from paperwork to booking your freight, we can handle all of it for you.
I love it, man. And this is something new that I'm doing just to kind of show love and just, kind of create like a community vibe. Who is someone on social media that you think people should follow, that you're following, and why?
Okay. From a carrier standpoint, I did a podcast with them, and it's called Blue Ribbon Logistics, right? And so what I like about them is he kind of like my personality, kind of like antagonistic, right? So I can gravitate to that. But everything he's saying is the truth. And so they have this whole thing where they believe in getting people to be successful in transportation. They only preach getting an old truck, fixing it up from nothing. You get a truck for $15,000. Who cares if it's ugly? Put $25,000 in it, get it fixed up from bolt to bolt to end to end. So now you're in that truck for $40,000, but during the process of doing that, rebuild everything. So instead of that truck getting 5 to 6 miles to the gallon, it's gonna get 10. Put the right type of tires on it. So he goes through this whole philosophy, and I say, you know what? If we got back to the basics before the internet made trucking sexy, that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
When you go talk to somebody got 20 plus trucks, they ain't not out here getting, they just got some, like a whole bunch of raggedy jokers, right? That just run like a machine, but they can put people in it and their operating cost is very low. So I would say like them and anybody else that's just willing to tell the truth versus trying to be the biggest person on social media, I respect all of that. So I follow a lot of different people. They'll say some of the truth. Man, I don't know who lied to y'all. Y'all don't get this much money in the truck. I'll go like and comment. I'm like, man, keep preaching because we need more truth out here.
Yeah.
Than versus somebody marketing. I understand the job is to market and know what people are doing, but you ain't got to lie. So I feel like a lot of times, people of color, we're already starting off at a disadvantage. So if you're going to trip us up, don't trip us up. So I don't like that.
There it is. Blue Ribbon Logistics.
Yeah,
Where are
yeah.
they based out of,
I think it's like Virginia somewhere. And so like the dude, when they go look up, they're like, what, right? Because he going crazy on the thing. But I think his philosophy, especially now, because what's being true is like they've been echoing the same thing for years, regardless of what the market is doing.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things I've been saying too. Before the market was good, before trucking blew up, I'm like, you don't want a truck, you need to be ready for one.
Right.
They lying about doing this part-time. Like I've been saying the same stuff for years. So a lot of times people fall back or they see my content on YouTube or somebody say, man, you were saying this 4 years ago. And I'm like, because I'm always going to tell you the truth. And that's the thing. If I believe I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, then whatever does happen, I have to be able to adapt. What I did in 2022, we ain't doing that today. What I decide to do in 2026, that ain't going to work in 2027, right? So now if you're not always adapting and changing, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is. That's
Okay.
my people.
Well, shout to them. Shout to Blue Ribbon Logistics.
Yeah.
And then Last but not least, man, you've been dropping final thoughts all day, but you know, it's customary. We have to give you an opportunity to give you a final thought. So first, where can people find you? What's the social media that you're using right now? What's the main handle?
Let's go to JB Solutions.
JB Solutions, just at JB Solutions.
Yeah, on Instagram as well as TikTok.
Okay, IG and TikTok.
Yeah.
And then let's go with your final thought, man. I don't know if you remember the one you did the last podcast 80 years ago, but let's drop a new one. Give them something.
No, I don't. I think I'm gonna keep it very basic, right?
Okay.
So this is the biggest thing with me, right? A lot of people will tell you that they have a vision, but then they have no knowledge around that thing, right? So if you tell me, hey, I'm gonna do this, and I ask you, what is it gonna take in order for you to do that? When you don't do that time to vet what it would look like, then you will not have the work capacity to do it at the end of the day, right? So because of that, you need to believe it's possible, so you have the ability to put in the work. If not, it's not gonna work. Because I know so many people like, I'm gonna try trucking. I'm gonna try dispatching. I'm gonna try to be a freight broker instead of I am going to be. So it don't matter if it took you a year to get your first customer. At least you got it. So I feel like people are racing with this invisible clock for whatever reason that I don't understand. So I'll give a real life scenario. I got this dude. His name's Diego, so I'll make sure I say his name for sure. Like, he's making me feel some type of way. So he came to my second to last course that I had. And for some reason, 3 other people were supposed to come. People got in wrecks. It was some crazy, weird situation. He was the only person in the class. And he worked harder than any other person I've ever seen work. So now when we was talking, when the class were pulling to us, let me tell you something, bro. If you can find a way to leave Florida, to move to Houston, right, I'm going to give you an opportunity. And he rough around the edges. He been in trouble, he disenfranchised, all that kind of stuff, right? Kind of, he think he a cool kid or something. I'm gonna make sure he hear all this, right? Because we've had this conversation. So I told him, man, if you come here, give me 5 years. He said, 5? I said, 5. You 24. What you got to lose? And he said, okay, he left. So he hit me up, and he literally moved here. Don't know nobody. All he knows is me, right? He moved here. He been here since May 2nd. We got him in the business. And now he said, okay, put me on this path because I'm going to stay here for the next 5 years. But as I'm saying, he believes something. And now him believing that thing is now he's willing to put in the work. And I don't know at what point in our life, maybe, kids, school, I don't know what it is, but people stop believing stuff, so then they run out of the ability to endure. So shout out to him.
There it is. Shout out to Diego. Yeah. Diego. If you don't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. Hustle fam, you know what we do around this time. If you smell something burning, it's only a desire. Brandon, man, this time. I mean, last time was good, but this time, brother.
You know what you need to do?
What's that?
I'm going to come every 6 months. You know what I'm saying? We could just do it, lock that in.
Listen,
so
man.
Put that in the comments. Like,
this
where Brandon
time,
at? You know what I mean? We'll break it down.
I wasn't ready. I mean, this time it was like, it was a new Brandon. God damn. Whew. Yeah. Man, listen, if y'all was as intrigued and as, into this conversation as I was, man, drop it down in the comments. Show Brandon some love, man. Yeah. Make sure you go follow him. Follow JB Solutions, everything he's working on, man. Bro.
Thank you so much.
Amazing, man. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate you, man. This was dope. Hustle fam, we out.
What's up, y'all? It's Ramel from Truck and Hustle, and I am super excited to announce that we are finally launching our Truck and Hustle Entrepreneurs Community. This is a place where entrepreneurs just like you can connect, collaborate, partner, and win together. Everybody's been asking me for years, man. They say, Ramel, you have such a crazy network. All these people who have been on the platform. You need to create something where everybody can come together and work together. And that's what we've done here with the Truck and Hustle Entrepreneurs Community, man. You'll see people from Truck and Hustle along with other business people that you see out there in the world moving and shaking. You guys can collaborate, network together, and win together. Go to the description right now and sign up for our first inaugural event. It's called Contracts and Cash Flow. This event is going to set the tone for your business in 2025. I know we're almost in the second quarter, so we got to hurry up, man. We got to get things moving. So let's make it happen. Click, join the community, and let's go. See you guys in a couple weeks. All right, y'all, listen, I'm happy to announce that we finally launched our YouTube memberships. Listen, if you want to support Truck and Hustle for all the hard work that we've been doing over the past 5 years, this is where you need to be. As a part of our memberships, number one, you'll get exclusive access to all of our archive content. Number two, we'll be doing at least one live webinar with one of the guests or somebody else from our network that you love to continue to add value to you and your business. Third, we'll be having exclusive behind the scenes content that we shoot and doesn't, make the final cut. So make sure you go check it out. Get that subscription right now and join us, man. TNH forever. Let's go. All right, guys, if you love Truck and Hustle and you love the interviews and the information that we're providing week to week, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. All right, Hustle fam.